Olá pessoal, que fala Jean-Pierre. E essa vai ser a corrida de Indianápolis da Nascar 2016.
Hey Brickyard!
Everybody
ready, set, go. Rev it up and let's roll. There's a party in the fast lane. Got my hands on the wheel and I'm flying. Heartbeat loud as the thunder rolls. Riding in on the stampede of lightning. I'm bringing back the sunshine. Bringing back the sunshine. Baby, it's about time. Oh. Bring it back.
Welcome to NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series Racing from Indianapolis. Telecast presented by Golden Corral. Plenty of storylines we'll be following today. Let's go to pit road and Kelly Stepps.
Jamie McMurray won this race back in 2010, but get this, yesterday he said he thinks this car is even better than the one he had back then. He starts third and will look for an opportunity to make a move early.
McMurray venceu sua corrida em 2010 e acha que o carro que ele tem hoje está ainda melhor do que o que ele tinha aquele ano.
Indianapolis Motor Speedway is not known for being kind to rookies, but Daniel Suarez is not any rookie. In his first start in the Xfinity Series, he finished third here. I asked him, what does it mean to be racing here? He said, I have one thing in my mind. I want to join the legends of this racetrack. Dave?
It is.
O Soares, Indianápolis nunca é bom para os novatos, mas Soares não é nenhum novato. Na primeira corrida dele da Xfinity, chegou em terceiro aqui em Indianápolis.
Hard to pass at the Brickyard, making the task for Kyle Larson in the 42 car that much more difficult. He starts 25th. Marty?
Already been in
Difícil de ultrapassar aqui em Indianápolis, fazendo a tarefa do Kyle Larson mais difícil do que já é. E larga em 25º lugar.
Eventful afternoon for Martin Truex Jr. and his team. When he showed up on the grid, he had no race car. In fact, he only got the race car 1 minute before the national anthem. I asked him, did that bother you? He said, absolutely not. As long as it's here before the green flag, I'm all good. Time to get the engines cranked at the Brickyard.
Martin Truex Jr. conseguiu o carro dele só agora, nos últimos momentos. Quando começou o hino, ele ainda não tinha acesso ao carro dele. Mas não importa, falou que isso não importa para ele, desde que ele tenha o carro para largada, tá tudo bem.
Ladies and gentlemen, now for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome the chairman of the board of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Tony George.
Drivers, start your engines.
And welcome once again to Indianapolis Motor Speedway alongside Steve Letarte, Jeff Burton. I'm Rick Allen. They have been racing at this racetrack for over a century. NASCAR for almost a quarter century now. And for some reason, the greats of NASCAR seem to rise when they come to the big stages, especially the Brickyard 400.
Well, Rick, it started right away with the history of the Brickyard 400. We go back to the inaugural running and who wins it? But Indiana's own Jeff Gordon, his first ever win at the Brickyard, came in the first running. Right behind him, the Intimidator. Dale Earnhardt goes to victory lane. Then Dale Jarrett, the Hall of Famer, he says, you know what, winning's great, but let's kiss the bricks. Let's start a new tradition. And we stuck with the traditions of Hall of Famers winning it with Bill Elliott.
Great tradition, but I think tradition is what has made this racetrack special before NASCAR became here. When you think about the Indy 500, there's so many greats of racing in America. Foyt, Mears, Unser, Andretti. When you come to this facility as a NASCAR driver, you feel like a guest, and you're honored to be here.
You guys said tradition, history. How about Kyle Busch trying to make history, becoming the first NASCAR driver ever to win 3 Brickyard 400s in a row?
It'd be good timing for him, Rick, because he's on a 35-race winless streak. They've been running well this year. They've led laps, had a lot of speed the last month and a half, but they have not found a way to get that car in victory lane.
And that's what we're going to focus on. They have had the speed, but they haven't executed late, whether it's on pit road, on restarts, or just bad luck. They haven't found a way to capitalize. Could they break that streak and get to victory lane today?
Kyle Busch, the former champion of the Monster Energy Series, looking for a win. What better place than at the biggest stage?
I think it's obviously amazing to have that opportunity to kiss the bricks and to win the Brickyard 400, but especially when you have your family with you and having my wife Samantha alongside me and my son Brexton as well too. You know, it's been pretty amazing that you know, the 2 years that Brexton's been here, been with us on this earth, that he's only seen one guy win the Brickyard 400, so we'd certainly like to keep that tradition going.
It's iconic Indianapolis Motor Speedway, in the words of another Indiana icon, Larry Bird.
As you go through life, you find out how important certain things are, and auto racing's huge here. You know, we got probably the best track in the world, most famous track. The history, big crowds, a lot of excitement. It's just a place that gravitates people to it. If you ever go out there for a race, it's just one of the most spectacular things you can ever see. I was at the first race, and I was very excited about being there, and I just think it's amazing what they can do with that track and how them guys can drive and anticipate, and the competition is so high.
Dale Jarrett wins the Brickyard 400 for the second time.
A 4th win in the Brickyard 400 to Jimmy Johnson.
To win one, it's got to be a special feeling. I think it's one of the greatest things you could ever accomplish. You know, you go back in history with the Unsers, the Foyts. I just think it's amazing.
Tony Story, a native Hoosier, his dream comes true.
Indiana's own Ryan Newman will take the checkered flag at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
The young man who cut his racing teeth in nearby Pittsboro, Indiana.
The only 5-time winner of the Brickyard 400.
I think it means everything to the state. We are racing fans, and we like every bit of it.
Kyle Busch has been legendary today. Kyle Busch, back-to-back, wins at the Brickyard.
Being from Indiana, you want to see the best, and you want to see the competition, and I wish them all luck.
Pretty incredible hearing from one of the greatest basketball players of all time, and Larry Bird. Let's take a look at today's starting grid, brought to you by Golden Corral. It will roll across the bottom of the screen. We want to talk to one of the drivers in the field today, and that would be Kyle Larson. Let's dial him up.
Hey, Kyle, Jeff Burton in the NBC booth. You with us?
I'm here. What's up?
Well, I'm wondering, you driving for Chip Ganassi. He has multiple Indy 500 wins here. I'm wondering how that changes your day. Does it add pressure, or does it make it easier for you?
I don't know. I guess if anything, it would add a little bit of pressure. This is a special place to Chip and a special place for our organization. So to get a solid run in and you'll be able to kiss the bricks at the end of the day would be a huge thing for sure.
Well, the last few weeks you have just sliced through the field, having to start in the back. Today a little bit better starting position, but are you going to be able to get up through the field the way you've been the last couple weeks?
I hope so. I don't think our race car is quite as fast as the last 2 weeks, but we got a great team, and I'm confident that they made good adjustments overnight. And we'll be able to carve our way up front here.
Não acho que esse carro tão rápido quanto esteve nas últimas 2 semanas, mas vai talvez ajustar. O pessoal ajusta durante a noite. Vamos ver se a gente consegue cavar nosso lugar até a frente.
Both for giving us a little bit of time. Good luck today, buddy.
Yeah, thanks. Enjoy the race.
Oh, we will. A lot of people don't realize how big Indianapolis Motor Speedway actually is. So we're going to give you a little perspective as we look down upon this racetrack that was built on 328 acres. Look at some of the venues, the sporting venues that you can fit inside of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Coliseum, Rose Bowl, Liberty Island, we'll throw in that, the White House, Yankee Stadium, we're not done there, Taj Mahal also can fit inside, Vatican City, and Churchill Downs, all comfortably fitting inside the infield at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And again, there's a golf course. You notice that. There are 4 holes that are actually inside of this racetrack, and then the other 14 just off of the backstretch. And I believe I see a friend of mine that is actually on the golf course right now. It looks like, is that Plaid? Yes, it's Rutledge Wood.
Hey, Rick, I am down here on the golf course. Like you said, there's 4 holes for the Brickyard Crossing that are inside the track. But when the golf course was actually started here in 1929, there was 9 holes inside. Can you believe that? 9 holes. That's how big this place is. They actually changed it inside here when they made room for the museum. But we even saw yesterday during the Xfinity race, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin were getting in a few holes before they had to do qualifying. But the amazing thing is there's so much history everywhere you look at this gigantic facility. From, of course, a huge concert we had last night to the bricks. You can actually find the old bricks. Rick and I actually did that Friday morning in one of the creeks. But to be able to enjoy some racing and some good golf, Rick, I just don't know if it gets any better than this.
This could be scary.
Oh, look at that. Nice line.
That's pretty good.
Jordan Spieth, everybody. I'm his cousin.
The Open champion, Jordan Spieth. Thank you, Rutledge. He had mentioned Chainsmokers were actually here and put on a concert in the infield. It was spectacular last night. Our aerial coverage provided by our partners at Smithfield Foods. Give us a bird's eye view of this racetrack. And let's break down the numbers to what is Indianapolis and Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Brickyard 400, 2.5-mile quad oval, 160 laps, 400 miles.
Yeah, Rick, and those 160 laps will be broken down into 3 stages. The first 2 stages, 50 laps each. The final stage, 60 laps. Fuel window right around 40 laps, Jeff.
Keep your eye on this. Pit road is closed with 2 laps to go. That's going to play into strategy, Steve.
And we talked about this, Rick. Hall of Famers, the biggest names. Winning at the Brickyard seems to just push those big stars to the top. We'll see if that continues today. Maybe it will be Kyle Busch's day to go 3 in a row.
And I want to take a look at today's Ram Guts and Glory, guys.
Well, we just talked about it. Winning at the Big Crowd. This is the biggest racetrack. Other than Daytona, the first race of the year, as you go through the summer, this is the one. This is the marquee event that could propel a team to a championship. The momentum that leaves this racetrack has proven time and time again to help throughout the summer and into the playoffs.
And who's willing to take that big risk? Crew chiefs, drivers. What team is going to gamble, put themselves in a position late in the race to try to get a win?
Jimmy Johnson changed a rear end gear, and so he gave up a 4th place starting position to go all the way to the back for that change. On the outside of row 1, it will be Kyle Busch, inside Kevin Harvick. Kyle Busch won the pole, looking to make history as he's trying for 3 in a row from the Brickyard. Field all in line, 2 by 2 behind Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. Green flags in the air. Down the backstretch. The uniqueness about Indianapolis that no other NASCAR track has. There are short chutes between turns 1 and 2 and between turns 3 and 4. A short straightaway.
So right here, Matt Kenseth has Joey Logano up on the outside. That's not where you want to be all day long. Chase Elliott on the bottom of him, going to take advantage. Joey Logano's going to try to get in behind Chase to keep anybody else from coming.
That's the whole idea. As you mentioned, this racetrack, as you see, Clint Boyer tries to push the issue as well. Joey Logano's going to try to block the move. Clint with an aggressive move, staying on the inside of the 22.
And Clint Boyer making the pass, able to get by. That leaves Joey Logano hung out in that second groove, and he's able to tuck back in behind Clint Boyer in the 14.
Rick, you were talking about the uniqueness of this racetrack. This is a track we go to that has 4 distinct corners. As you see, Dale Earnhardt Jr. going to lose at least 1, probably 2 spots into turn 3.
These restarts are so important. When you go back and think about Joey Logano, he started 7th. He's already back to 13th. right now, Dale Jr., he's trying to prevent the same thing from happening to him. If they get lined up underneath you on these restarts, it's going to be hard to hold them back.
Riding along with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the nationwide in-car camera. We go down the, and we'll continue to call this unique, a unique situation in that you have grandstands on the right and the left as they come down the front stretch at Indianapolis. And he's going to make the pass back on Paul Menard. Paul Menard in the 27, former Brickyard 400 winner. This is Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s last shot at a Brickyard 400, as this will be his final year of competition.
Well, it was big news this week. You mentioned it being Dale Jr.'s last start as he comes down and blocks the run of the 3 in Austin Dillon. Well, it was announced this week who would be replacing Dale Jr. in the 88. Alex Bowman is going to get the nod. He's basically a simulation driver at Hendrick Motorsports, runs in the Chevrolet Sim all week long. Last year filled in for Dale Jr. the second half of the season when he was out with a concussion. So that was a big question mark that was answered this week.
And Steve, I talked to Rick Hendrick moments ago about that. He said, honestly, it wasn't much of a decision to put Alex Bowman in the car for the 88 next year. We've had him in our camp. We believe in what he can do. In terms of this being Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s last Brickyard start, he told me that during practice, going down the backstretch one time, he just started thinking about all the names that have raced here, from Unser and Mears all the way to the other guys who have won here, including his father who won at this racetrack as well. He said, I just really got an immense respect for the history of this racetrack. And Jeff, you've been a driver here. You really do sense the history of this racetrack, and it's such a special place. The final start going to be a big one for Junior today.
Yes, you do, Marty, and it is an honor to race here. It truly is. This is a unbelievable facility with unbelievable history, and when you even have a chance to race here, much less have a chance to win, it's a huge honor.
Jimmy Johnson in the 48 has won here 4 times. That's second to his former teammate Jeff Gordon, who had won here 5 times. Dave.
And he almost had 4 wins, Rick, every time he starts at the back of the field, but it's just 3 for 4 for the 7-time champion. Yesterday, following the qualifying run that he made, crew chief Chad Knaus told me they do their normal searches throughout the car. They check basically everything on the race cars, and they found debris in an area that the rear gear will show it if there's a problem. He said we weren't comfortable with it. We changed the rear gear. That caused us to start at the back, but per the history I just mentioned, that's not always a bad thing for Jimmy.
Not at all. You see the numbers there, Texas Dover.
Well, you can see what having to start in the rear, the huge penalty it is at this racetrack. It is very difficult to pass here. Jimmy Johnson's doing all he can to try to get by the 95 car of Michael McDowell, but when you drive in these corners and there's somebody in front of you, all that air leaves your car. It takes all the downforce off of your car. All the grip leaves your car, and it's very difficult to make the pass. He's showing Michael McDowell. He really doesn't have a run on him. He's just showing him, I want this spot. And, you know, Michael McDowell's not going to concede it.
No, he has every right to hold up the 48, and he's trying to right now because they only have to run about 15 more laps. Rick, NASCAR announced heavy rain came through last night and through this morning, washing all the rubber off the racetrack, so we'll have a competition yellow at lap 20. Jimmy finally got the move on the 95 there as he was going to the inside.
And we'll see these cars serpentine, trying to get clean air and trying not to give someone a little bit of a draft at this racetrack. These long straightaways.
And the other concern is just being in traffic alone. So the 48, that last lap, ran a 51.80. The leader, Kyle Busch, ran a 50.50. So he's losing over a second to the leader just being back in traffic.
Parker Kligerman.
Hey guys, one of the biggest movers so far early in this race is the 47 of A.J. Allmendinger. He didn't even qualify yesterday. Well, he sort of did. He went out there, tried a half a lap, decided the car was way too loose. They came back in, made an adjustment, went back out in qualifying, got down to turn 1 and got super loose, gave up on that lap. Never completed a lap in qualifying. This team, he told me, was trying something completely out of left field. They were trying something completely different because they have felt absolutely lost in the last couple of weeks. And it looks like it may be working right now with how many cars he's passed. He's dead last up in the top 30.
He's running 30th right now as we ride along with the Kroger Click List on board.
And look on his dashboard. I'm sorry, we went away, but I was on his dashboard. It's a bit of interesting information we're going to keep an eye on today.
Battle for second now. Kevin Harvick trying to hold off Martin Truex Jr. Martin Truex Jr. really been one of the hottest drivers in NASCAR this season. Already has secured a shot or spot in the playoffs. And he's chasing after and trying to set up that 4 of Kevin Harvick. As we go along to the Jimmy John's on board. And watch as Martin Truex Jr. has that second spot now. And back onto the front stretch they come. Kyle Busch has already amassed a 2.5 second lead over second place Martin Truex Jr. Harvick, McMurray, and Blaney are the top 5. Kyle Busch, back in 2015, was able to win this race and go on to win the championship. But he wasn't the first one to do it. Many have won at the Brickyard and then held up the big trophy at the end of the season. Welcome back to the Brantley Gilbert Big Machine Brickyard 400. That is Corey LaJoie. No, he's not looking for a parking spot. He hit the wall fairly hard and has brought out the first caution of the day. Take a look.
Yeah, when he comes in the shot, he's already out of the groove. Not real sure why he got out of the groove. He just overdrove the corner, had some kind of problem, but then once he got out, it's so slick, and these guys here lucky to get slowed down. But once you get that far out of the groove, Steve, you're just along for the ride.
Yeah, disappointing finish to Corey LaJoie's first ever Brickyard start.
So it brings out the first caution of the day. We're expecting a competition caution at lap 20. And as the field lines up behind the pace car, because there's a competition caution at lap 20, if cars do come to pit road under this caution, they cannot add fuel. You cannot add fuel until the competition caution, which will be at lap 20. Quite a few cars are coming, maybe to have some adjustments made to their cars.
Adjustments and tires seem to be pretty big value this weekend as far as car handling. A lot of crew chiefs thought they had to put them on and put them on early. Kelly?
Well, you see the 14 there of Clint Boyer. He's coming in to get a service. He's going to have some 4 fresh Goodyear tires. This is a team that's really looking to get a win. Dave?
Remember, Kyle Larson started 25th. He was 18th when the caution came out, decided to come down pit road, get 4 Goodyear tires and no Sunoco fuel, of course, because it was too loose, Marty.
Dave, a lot of factors at play here. Dale Earnhardt Jr. dropped back to 19th. Had a little bit of contact with Brad Keselowski on the initial start there. No real damage to the front end of the car, though, but also weather in the area, cop caution coming. So, Steve, a lot for these crew chiefs to keep up with. Some of these guys deciding to come to pit road early here.
Yeah, I mean, really, I was surprised. I asked through the garage area, this is a new left side tire that Goodyear has brought, and they said that the wear is a little higher than normal. This is a track, Rick, where we normally see a lot of 2-tire changes, but you saw right there, all of these drivers that came to pit road, and the majority of them choosing to change 4 tires. So already some adjustments for the tire combination that Goodyear brought.
Yeah, I think part of that, too, Steve, is just, we talked about it when the show opened, you're going to have to do something different. It's so hard to pass here. Think about Kyle Larson last week. He started dead last. In 10 laps, he picked up over 20 spots. Today, he had only picked up 7 spots. So that's how much harder it is to pass. So they're going to try to get on some kind of different sequence to try to help their pit strategy.
They are going to bring the field onto pit road now. And the reason they're doing that, even though the sun is shining on a portion of this racetrack, there's a storm that is coming right now from the northwest that's heading right at the track. And because there is lightning in the area, they are going to bring this field onto pit road. And more than likely, we will see these cars get covered up quickly because this storm looks as though it's going to pass through quickly, but because of the lightning, they want to make sure everyone is safe. They have told the people in the grandstands also that there is a storm coming and lightning is on its way. So the field is making its way onto pit road. We'll take a hopefully quick break here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and be back to action soon.
Spotters e quem está na arquibancada, quem está acampando. Então, a Nascar já
Silverado, the most dependable, longest-lasting full-size pickups on the road. Find yours at Chevy.com. Chevy Silverado, an official vehicle of NASCAR.
NASCAR Drive is NASCAR.com's live race day companion, now available on your mobile device. Select your favorite camera angle or driver with in-car video. You can even watch multiple angles at once. Never miss a lap with NASCAR Drive. Visit NASCAR.com/drive from your PC, tablet, or mobile device. You see the weather moving in, and that is the reason why all of the cars and the crews are now putting covers over the top of the cars. The cars now on pit road. And take a look. Those of you that are familiar with the Midwest and the fact that it's very hot and humid here, a pop-up thunderstorm could happen at any time, and that's exactly what we think we're experiencing here as this one is about to hit us. But they've called the cars onto pit road, and they will cover them up.
And purely a safety decision. Jeff, you and I used to get frustrated. You would run until the rain shower was basically on top of the racetrack, and that's not a good combination for the race cars on the track, but more importantly to the spotters on the roof, the cameramen on the roof, the fans in the grandstands. You know, there perhaps could be some electricity in the storm. We need to get everybody in a safe location.
So coming into this race, take a look at the playoff standings. Drivers on the left in yellow have won a race and will have a shot at being in the playoffs. Martin Truex Jr., Jimmy Johnson both with 3 wins. Austin Dillon also with the win on the right of the screen there has a win, so he will be eligible for the playoffs.
The whole conversation, Rick, is right here between Matt Kenseth and Joey Logano. Joey Logano has that win, but the win doesn't count. The Richmond win, he had a rules and
assim, aqui olhando na direita, Matt Kenseth e Joey Logano, 16º e 17º é o corte. E o Logano teve a vitória dele em Richmond, mas não contou, pois não passou na inspeção pós-corrida. E 52 pontos de diferença dele para o Matt Kenseth. Ele que está secando o Matt Kenseth e o Clint Bowyer, os dois ali muito próximos na pontuação. Mas cada posição vale apenas 1 ponto, além do playoff, dos estágios que dão 10 pontos, né? Então, Logano não tem trabalho fácil.
Fraction, it was thrown out as far as qualifying him for the playoffs. So everybody thought, no big deal. The 22 of Joe Logano runs well enough. He should have no problem making the playoffs. We were all wrong. It has been I don't want to say a spiral. It's just been one thing after another that continues to hamper this 22's effort. And now at 52 points up, Jeff, that's a long ways heading into the summer.
That is a lot of points. Essentially 1 point per position is the simplest way to describe it. But with stage racing, if Clint Bowyer or Matt Kenseth were to have trouble early in a race and they don't get stage points and they also don't get very good points for where they ended the race, that's how he's going to have to make this up. But, you know, the other interesting thing is Matt Kenseth. You know, Matt Kenseth announced a few weeks ago that he is not going to be back at Joe Gibbs Racing. He does not know where his next year's ride is. We're talking about a former champion. Right. We're talking about a guy up and down the garage that has respect from car owners, from crew chiefs. People who want him to drive the car, but right now he does not have a place to go. So as this winds down these next few races, this point battle between Matt Kenseth and Joey Logano, and don't forget Clint Bowyer. Clint Bowyer is only 2 points ahead of Matt Kenseth.
Well, and the big conversation is that we could continue to have winners, because this schedule that goes from Indianapolis through Richmond, where the playoff field is set. What a unique variety of racetracks. Pocono, the Triangle Racetrack. We go to Watkins Glen, a road course, high-speed Michigan, short track Bristol. There is no consistency, nothing that looks alike. Really, no more 1.5 miles, what I would consider standard tri-oval tracks that we see for the majority of the season. So, Jeff, it wouldn't shock me to get a surprise winner, maybe at Watkins Glen, maybe at Michigan with fuel mileage, or at Bristol. Anything can seem to happen with the short tracks. We talk about Matt Kenseth, who hasn't got a win yet this year, runs very good at Bristol.
Yeah, so if we go back and look at the point standings, you know, remember, if you win, you're in. You win a race and you advance. So now, let's say Joey Logano wins a race. That moves him in, that moves Matt Kenseth out. So the cut line moves up. Now that puts Clint Bowyer on the cut line. So winning of Eric Jones, Daniel Suarez, Trevor Bayne, any of these guys, somebody's not even on this list, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Right.
If he wins a race...
tem qualquer piloto aí atrás do Joey Logano que vence, coloca a linha de corte entre Clint Bowyer. Então o Matt Kenseth também já estaria fora. Deixa tudo mais difícil.
Now you only have 4 people rather, that can get in without a race win. So a new winner completely changes the game.
And again, we're under a red flag condition. Lightning in the area. A storm passing through here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway has halted competition after 12 laps.
Isso aqui é uma gravação. Vamos ver daqui a pouquinho.
I think just the heritage of race cars around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is what it's all about, and us being fortunate enough to be on that surface with the rest of the people that have won these big races over the years is really, really fun for us.
The amount of history at this racetrack, the amount of talent that's come through the gates here, it's just an honor to be able to stand in victory lane and then get to kiss that yard of bricks.
It's the greatest racetrack in the world. It's the most historic racetrack in the world, and you always get goosebumps driving through that tunnel.
The Daytona 500 is very, very special, but it's much more of circumstances that happen around you that help you win that race. Here, it is much more the individual team and drivers' efforts that win. So it's more difficult to win here, and you take a lot of pride in winning this major that way.
That comes from a 7-time champion. Welcome back to Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Indianapolis. Well, currently not racing, but under a red flag condition because of weather in the area. But this racetrack is so iconic. As far as when you talk about motorsports, Indianapolis Motor Speedway is at the top of the list. The venues that these teams go to, Daytona, that's the birthplace of NASCAR. But it was 24 years ago when Indianapolis Motor Speedway and NASCAR came together and said, let's have an event. And the winner of that race was Jeff Gordon, a young driver at the time, gets his win at his home state. And now, 24 years later, Jeff Gordon actually the pace car driver. He was out in front of the field when they came to the green earlier, driving the pace car. So a very, I guess, a very just honor for Jeff Gordon, the 5-time winner of the Brickyard 400. We see back in August 1994. Cars look a little bit different.
To say the fans were excited would be an understatement. They felt like that was their hometown guy, won the inaugural race. And something that a lot of people don't remember about this first race, there was a lot of talk of whether NASCAR should be here. Right. It was very controversial. There's some people that were offended that something other than the Indy car was run on this racetrack. And after the first year, all that went away. And it became, we were welcomed. It was a completely different environment. And we've talked about it already, but the first time I came in here, there was no NASCAR history here whatsoever. I was lucky enough to run the first race here, and there was no history. The history was created by Foyt, Unser, Andretti, Mears. You watched those Indy 500s as a kid, and that's the history you knew. So when you walk through here, you had an unbelievable record for the things that had happened here that had nothing to do with NASCAR. And you truly felt like a guest. You were coming in on their coattails. And that added to the experience, because if you think about Daytona, Daytona, NASCAR built. Darlington, NASCAR built. Charlotte, the Coca-Cola 600, NASCAR built. NASCAR didn't build this. Right. And it was cool to come in following their history.
Interestingly enough, the very first champion of NASCAR was Red Byron. And Red Byron was a World War II veteran and hero. And when he came back from the war, he had a leg injury and was a racer. But he wanted to be able to race at Indianapolis. And so he made the decision to come and race at Indianapolis in one of the Indy 500s. And then made stock car racing more of his forte, and so the first champion of NASCAR. But that's something that we've seen. Alonso, we saw Alonso run earlier this year in the Indy 500, a F1 champion that said, I want to run in the Indianapolis 500. Everyone wants to run at this racetrack.
Well, you mentioned Formula One. After NASCAR came here, as you mentioned, Jeff, once the gates were broken open to have other series, it allowed Formula One to also come here. So what that really did is look at the names. Jeff Gordon, Michael Schumacher, A.J. Foyt, Unser, Mears, Johnson. That is the who's who of race car drivers in the world. Right. And that's really, I think, the difference. When you go to a short track that supports NASCAR or Fontana or Texas, they're great facilities, and IndyCar does go there or NASCAR goes there, but we're talking about a worldwide known facility. It hits. Gets fame for the Formula One races. MotoGP has run some motorcycle racing here. So now it has turned into not just a venue about the Indy 500. While that is still the marquee event, the biggest event on the IndyCar circuit, really the biggest, probably most well-known race in the world. It's held here at the most well-known racetrack in the world. So I think I agree with you, Jeff. When NASCAR comes to town,
a chuva finalmente chegou na pista de Indianápolis.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. And the team making the announcement that the substitute driver from a year ago was going to be the full-time driver in 2018. So wins on the season for William Byron.
Certainly was special. So we'll have that coming up. And speaking of former Xfinity winners here at Indianapolis, we've got another one coming up. We'll hear from Ty Dillon, but that's a great sign. One of the 20 Air Titans on the track, drying it to get you ready for racing.
For me, the emotions hit me going into turn 3 because my dad was up on top of the grandstand spotting for me. So to have him there spotting, just as he did in Daytona in 2008, to help me get to victory lane was where the emotions started for me.
Indiana's own Ryan Newman is about to recognize a lifelong dream. He will take the checkered flag at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
The amount of history at this racetrack, from all the guys in the open wheel cars, the stock cars, the F1 cars, amount of talent that's come through the gates here, it's just an honor to be able to stand in victory lane and then get to kiss that yard of bricks.
So special it is to win here is with our Parker Kligerman. Hi, Parker.
Hi, Krista. Yes,
I'm going to say, mellowed.
Yeah, no, well, I think you change your perspective. As you watch these young guys come up through here, you watch the Kyle Larsons, you watch the Ryan Blaney's, you watch these guys, you realize, yes, you can do this. Yeah, that's a youth league.
Maybe the three of it's a 3-on-3 tournament. Maybe the three of us should go.
You see my baseline shot? I've got a baseline shot.
Listen, if I had to play with
made it to victory lane in the Cup race.
And you heard Brad talking about his car not being good today. I spoke to Brad this morning and I said, hey man, is your car fast? Nope. And just was not happy with his car. Didn't feel like they had the speed they needed. So they obviously made some changes going into this race, and it wasn't enough. Although now, Steve, they had an opportunity to make some changes, but nothing really under this red flag that there was going to be able to make the car drive better.
Well, I think you just have to come up with a plan. Sometimes I thought his feedback over the radio was good. He wasn't mad, but he was very descriptive. Like, look, this is not good, Paul. We have 3 completely different handling issues. So sometimes it's a combination of changes. Things you can't discuss over the radio. Come up with that plan. Come to pit road. It's a long race, Rick. We always talk about strategy and track position. Well, you also have to have a good car, so that has to be their number one concern.
One driver looking for his first Brickyard 400 win in his last starts at this racetrack will be Dale Earnhardt Jr. Marty?
Rick, the engines have just fired here on pit road, which is good news for everybody. And we were just talking about how that moving of the comp caution may not affect many teams. I found 2 drivers who are not very happy about it. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Clint Boyer both told me, hey, we based our strategy off that being at lap 20. Now it's at lap 30. That really messes up what we have planned for the entire day. Both of these teams were planning at the lap 20 comp caution to come down, take fuel only, and head back out on pit road. Now they'll have to take tires because there's such a longer time before the comp caution comes out, Rick.
Well, Marty, I don't think anybody planned on rain coming at lap 12 of this race either. So I know that it wasn't in their plan, but at the same time, you have to be able to adjust.
Well, and NASCAR has been consistent, Steve. If you get weather or you have an issue before that comp caution, they have consistently moved that comp caution out. So that is something that's hard to plan for because you don't know how far they're going to move it out, but it's nothing unusual about NASCAR moving that comp caution.
No, they've stayed pretty consistent with that, so it can be frustrating because you come up with a plan, but as Rick said, the plan has to be pretty liquid.
Don't say liquid. We've definitely seen enough of that.
I don't know why that was funny because we're 4 for 4 for rain, Rick.
Yes.
In our NBC race. So we're 4 for 4 this year. So I don't know why I found that humorous, but don't say it again.
Well, Jeff, you told us at the top of the show how restarts were going to be important here at Indy, as they are at every racetrack, and it started right from the start of the race. A momentum racetrack where you have to kind of time your runs. We're on board with Dale Earnhardt Jr., the nationwide onboard camera. You're going to see get back. Tries to get back on the gas. The 2 of Brad Keselowski gets a little free. Not a lot of contact hurt his momentum, but you have to be careful at a high-speed track. I know you've had this happen in your career, Jeff, where you get a little hole in the nose, just a little crack in the seam. You can't even really see it, but at 200 miles an hour, the air pressure gets through there and hurts downforce.
It completely changes the way the car drives. And then we saw Dale Jr. He did nothing wrong. He was just in the wrong line. And Keselowski slowed up. You saw how fast that Clint Boyer went flying by him, and that's what happens at this racetrack. You're in the wrong line at the wrong time, and you lose track position, and it takes you forever to get that back.
Well, we're used to seeing shots like this from the nationwide onboard on the roof of the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr., but a very unique view we're going to have all day long with Kurt Busch on the Ford Performance onboard camera, which is really on helmet camera, Rick. This is a helmet cam, basically on the visor, just above the eye line of Kurt Busch. Jeff, I've never made laps Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but I've seen a few videos from cameras mounted near the headrest. This has got to be close to what you see as a driver.
Yeah, we're fortunate enough. This is, I believe, the 4th week we've had this camera. And thank you to all the drivers and teams that have allowed us to ride along, because this gives the fans at home the real perspective of what it's like to drive a race car. And I think, Steve, in some ways, even crew chiefs and engineers that haven't driven race cars before, this gives them insight also. Because you always, when you haven't done it, it's hard to figure out exactly what a driver's looking at, what their spots are that they're trying to hit on the racetrack. I think this is the best camera I've ever seen in explaining to the fans and teams what the driver actually sees and what he's feeling in many cases. You talked about restarts. This right here is huge for restarts. Look on the left side, the A-post. It is unbelievable how many times you will use that left side mirror. We have spotters. All the drivers have spotters, but there's only one driver of the race car. They look in that mirror constantly to make sure that somebody's not underneath them. On restarts, that mirror gets used an extremely amount.
For more reports before the green flag flies, let's go to Dave.
And Rick, we talk a lot about drivers doing double duty on race weekend. Jimmy Johnson is not one of them, but several are doing that. But the pit crews often pit on Saturday as well as Sunday. You're looking at Kyle Tudor there in the black skull cap. He is the jack man for Jimmy Johnson today. Yesterday he was working on pit lane for Justin Allgaier's car when this happened. Upended and landed on his back when it was another car, and Justin missed his pit stall. Kyle went up and over. I talked to him this morning. I said, "Where do you hurt today?" He goes, "Everywhere." He said, "But I'm very blessed. I landed right, and I will pit Jimmy's car this afternoon." Kyle Tudor, tough guy, and on duty for the 2nd time this weekend.
I mean, he's going to say, "I got hit by a car yesterday. I was hit by a car yesterday, and I'm doing my job today."
He could have taken the day off. I think everybody would have understood, but these guys, they're so tough, and it's easy to say that's their job. They run out in front of race cars, but I don't know, man. I don't think I want to be in that situation. I can tell you from a driver's standpoint, that is an awful feeling. I mean, it is horrific to be in that situation where you've made contact with a person. It is an awful feeling.
Pit road speed here at Indianapolis, 55 miles an hour. That's how fast those cars are going down pit road. Marty.
And Rick, being on pit road can also be tough on the personal side of life. Lee Cunningham is a rear tire changer for the 78 car of Martin Truex Jr. This morning, his wife Brittany went into contractions with her 2nd child. He scrambled to find a flight home. He found out the earliest flight he could get home was to stay here at the racetrack, pit the car today, and get home on the charter tonight. So he's trying to get home as soon as he can to Brittany and baby number 2, but he's hoping that Brittany holds on for a couple more hours and he can be there for the birth of his 2nd child this evening.
Well, we need to get this race in so that he can get back there and be a part of that. Out front, Kyle Busch. He has led all 14 laps now that have been complete. Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Harvick, Jamie McMurray, and Ryan Blaney, the top 5 when we get ready to restart.
I can tell you this, NASCAR on the track and everybody involved did their part to get this race in. Hour and 47 minutes for red flag, and from the time that it quit raining, it was an hour that the track was dry. So great work getting this racetrack dry so fans can see this race.
You can get NASCAR coverage when you're on the go with NASCAR Mobile. It's the official app of NASCAR, putting race coverage and live in-car cameras right at your fingertips. You can even listen to drivers and teams discuss race strategy. Download for free at NASCAR.com/mobile. Riding along with A.J. Allmendinger, the Kroger Click List onboard camera. We have a few cameras that you'll be able to enjoy. Riding along with one of those being Kurt Busch and the helmet cam. We've shown you a shot of that. There's from the top of the car, and there is from his helmet, actually on the visor.
He's riding around in a high gear right now, just saving fuel. You see the tack right in the middle of his dash. The RPMs are way low on it.
Yellow light still out as we're Still getting ready for the restart. And we appreciate you staying with us for the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Indianapolis. Our telecast presented by Golden Corral. Once they give the drivers the 1 to go sign, just as though pit road was just opened once again, they'll give them the 1 to go sign, and they will double up, go 2 by 2, getting ready for the restart. Once they've opened pit road, now cars can once again come to pit road. They can make adjustments to the car. They can put different tires on. They just can't add fuel until the competition caution, which now has been moved to lap 30. A few teams taking advantage of coming to pit road. What kind of strategy, crew chief, would you employ now that we've had a almost 2-hour break and there would be a competition caution 20 laps prior to the end of the first stage?
Well, I think, you know, in years past here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, we've talked track position trumps everything. But this weekend, Goodyear has brought a tire combination that the crew chief said has shown a little bit of wear, has shown some lap time fall off, meaning that it loses grip as cars make laps. So you see right here the 14 of Clint Boyer. He chose to pit when the rains came, so he's going to restart in the 22nd position with 4 fresh tires. And I think a lot of the crew chiefs towards the front of the field, Jeff, are going to watch how quickly this 14 moves through the field, because that's going to be vital information. I think everybody's going to take tires at the competition yellow, Kelly, but then what everyone's going to do at the end of the stage might have something to do with how successful this 14 car is.
Yes, Steve, well, there's been a lot of heated radio communication there coming from Clint Boyer in that 14, because essentially they feel like with the competition caution getting moved back those 10 laps, that they're at a disadvantage in 2 ways. They lose their track position and they lose that set of tires, because they're going to have to come get 4 more Goodyear tires at that competition caution. But you can hear the angst in Clint Boyer's voice just a moment ago.
He was calling it in. He was going to tell Richard up there. I mean, at least give us a set of tires back, something. I agree. We'll work through it here. Let's go get them here on this restart. We'll figure out what we're going to do next. They going to do anything about it? Why do you change the rules after you've opened the pits and let everybody pit?
And it got even a little more heated from there, and then the team just telling Clint, hey, look, these are the cards that were dealt. We still got the whole race ahead of us. Get your mind right.
Well, I think it's clear. I understand Clint Boyer's frustration, but now the only thing he can do is use these next 12 laps before the competition yellow to use these 4 tires, see how many positions he can get back. But Jeff, you've talked about how difficult it is to pass and move up through the field. That's his concern. But I mean, he's starting 21st. Maybe he can get 5, 8, or 10 positions. He was 12th before he pitted, so he needs to get, say, 9 or 10 spots back to consider at least a net wash, Rick.
And we'll see if that move to pit road will pay off for the 14 team, or some of the others that came to pit road, like Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kyle Larson, Paul Menard, Chris Buescher, Eric Almirola. Those cars all made their way onto pit road. They are 2 by 2. We're getting ready for the restart. The Sunny D on board. We had a glimpse of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I was watching American Ninja Warrior last night, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is on there once again. Talk about an athletic young man. Also a part of the hoop group. I know a lot of discussion was made during the rain delay about basketball and skills.
And you not being an athletic young man? Something like that, I think I heard.
I think a lot of people talked about me being tall. I do have that going for me. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., a very talented race car driver. As we get ready for the restart, the field approaching the Geico restart zone. Ready to get back to racing at the Brickyard. Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr. making up row 1. And we're back to racing in Indianapolis. Great restart for Kyle Busch. Truex Jr. holding on to second. McMurray makes the move up to third. Harvick and Blaney rounding out the top 5. Side by side for 6th behind him. Newman was trying to make the move past Harvick. Couldn't make it. Now it's 3 wide. Here comes Kurt Busch in the 41. He makes the pass. Gets by Newman.
What a job by Kevin Harvick to battle back in the outside of turn 3 and keep that spot.
Riding along with Kurt Busch. Logano makes the move to the inside of Denny Hamlin.
You see right there behind Denny Hamlin in the 11, the 5 of Casey Kane. Well, that white 14, he was disappointed with the rule change about the competition yellow, but I think these tires are working out. Already up to the 15th position, 5 positions on the first lap, although it looks like the 42 of Kyle Larson might get him here.
And the 88 might follow him by. On the outside of turn 4, it's hard to keep the momentum up. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to get a big run on the exit of 4.
Also taking tires, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kyle Larson under the last yellow. Again, there will be a competition caution approximately 10 laps from now. Welcome sun beating down on the racetrack now. This 2.5 mile historic racetrack.
Kyle Larson's doing a nice job, and you see him right in front of the 88 of Dale Jr., the 14 of Clint Boyer, up to the 14th position. He pitted from the 18th position, letting these new tires work, which is a little surprising. I would have thought those cooler scuffs, remember they sat for an hour, those older tires had a chance to cool off, but they are definitely at a disadvantage as the 42 easily gets by the 5 of Casey Kane.
See if that 5 lost the momentum, if that's going to let Clint Boyer get next to him. Yep, it is. There's Clint Boyer side by side. That's Indy. One guy passes you on the entrance to any one of these corners, and it just completely destroys your momentum.
Boyer able to clear the 5 of Casey Kane, and so Kane falls back another position.
You mentioned Kyle Larson. We had talked about before the rain came how he had not made any progress compared to last week. Well, these new tires are working for him. Before, he had only made up about 5 spots from where he started. Well, since this restart, he's made up 9. So these new tires have been an advantage.
Matt Kenseth makes the pass on Ryan Newman. Kenseth moving toward the front. Kenseth made the announcement earlier this year that he would not be racing for Joe Gibbs Racing in 2018 and still looking for a ride. He's a driver that has a championship, doesn't need to really audition for any team, but at the same time, he has to show that he can still be competitive and win races. So trying to do the best that he can each and every race to get into the playoffs, finally get another win potentially for Joe Gibbs Racing. Dave?
And I love Matt, Rick, how he's so calm on the radio. Just tells his crew, much better after the rain, for some reason. Don't know why. And off he goes.
A man of many words. Matt has a very dry sense of humor, and it's enjoyable to talk to him on the radio because every now and then it will come out. It's currently Kenseth running in the 7th position, chasing after Kurt Busch. Behind them, just a few spots, is the 24 of Chase Elliott, Kelly.
And Rick, we're keeping an eye on Chase Elliott because we just heard a radio transmission moments ago. It sounds like there could be an issue.
Problemas com Chase Elliott. Acho que perdeu cilindro.
Steve, if you're his crew chief, what do you do in this scenario?
Well, I think you heard Alan Gustafson asking about the volts. You have a checklist. Most crew chiefs have an emergency checklist, really. By what the driver says, you kind of go through it. If this, then that. If he says he's down on power, these are the questions you ask. Volts, fuel. Try to diagnose as much as you can. You know a yellow is coming in 8 more laps. Try to gain that information to try to gather a plan. But it can be very frustrating because Chase Elliott is trying to make laps, stay out of everyone's way, and diagnose this issue.
He's currently 13th in points. He does not have a race win. So when you look at the point battle, if you have a problem early in races, you don't have a chance to earn those stage points. That can that could really hurt a team like this. So trouble early is very costly.
And you hope it's something that's repairable. It's really, I mean, if it's electrical, maybe it's a battery issue. If it's fuel, maybe there's something you can tweak. But normally, unfortunately, a higher percentage of the time, it is normally of terminal issues. We'll have to just see what the 24 finds out.
Yeah, by the voltage number that he gave, it didn't sound like it was a battery issue or something that was easily fixed. That seemed like plenty of volts.
Well, this is the scenario I talked to crew chief Alan Gustafson about, and he was dreading it. They're kind of in an awkward position in this playoff spot because he said we kind of just want to stay status quo, knowing that we could have a mechanical failure, something that could hurt us, but we also don't want to do anything too risky and take ourselves out of it. I can tell you right now, Chase Elliott just come over to say he now has smoke inside the cockpit of that car.
Cannot be good. His last lap was 56 seconds. Race leader Kyle Busch, 50 seconds. He's losing 6 seconds to race leader Kyle Busch. You're watching NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Indianapolis. Telecast presented by Golden Corral. Kyle Busch out to a 2.5-second lead over second place Martin Truex Jr. This spotter coverage is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less on the track and on the road. And we go to our spotter, which is Rutledge Wood.
Yeah, Rick, I'm actually up here in one of the IndyCar spotter stands in turn 1, and we obviously see Chase is falling back in the field, but from up here, this great vantage point, I also can audibly hear there's a big difference in the way Chase's car sounds. You can hear on the radio, they're trying to diagnose right now as they're going around exactly what is going on with the car.
Foi o que ele falou.
So guys, you can definitely hear there's something going on. They're trying to figure it out. But one thing I can tell you for sure, whether it's going down on a cylinder or just down on power, you can definitely hear that difference, Jeff, as the car goes by.
Yeah, you really can't hear it. And obviously he's off a long way on speed. As Rick mentioned earlier, it's about 6 seconds to lap off. So major issues right now, Steve.
Well, and all of that information that Chase Elliott was trying to relay, Rick, is while these cars do have electronic fuel injection, that was the electronic control unit, that's not real time to the pits. The only place that information is displayed is in the race car. So you can see those numbers Chase were given, those aren't normal numbers. Those are information that you would never call out during a normal course of a race. He's multiple pages into that ECU there, going to multiple screens, reading codes, diagnostic codes, things that probably only make sense to the, to Alan Gustafson, perhaps Scott Maxim, and everyone at the Hendrick Engine Department.
So again, unfortunate for Chase Elliott. He has fallen back to the 34th position now, and he's 39 seconds behind race leader Kyle Busch. So one thing that's going to help him is the competition caution, which we are expecting any moment now. Chase Elliott will try to stay in front of that 18 until the competition caution comes out. That would keep him on the lead lap, and there is the caution flag. So the competition caution has come out. We're going to take a quick break, be back for pit stops that will be taking place right here in front of us on pit road. And just a reminder, tonight after the race on NBC, it's Sunday Night with Megyn Kelly, as we're under a competition caution. There are 19 laps to go in stage number 1.
Rick, this competition yellow was planned from NASCAR. This morning they announced it to the teams. It rained overnight, washed all the rubber off the racetrack. We saw tire wear actually play into the Xfinity.
Just a reminder, tonight after the race on NBC,
ok, estamos de volta.
As we're under a competition caution.
Depois de uma reforma da casa, agora continuando. Faz um tempo que gravei a primeira parte. E descobri que o volume estava muito baixo, o volume da minha voz estava muito baixo em relação aos comentaristas, desculpa aí. Até eu me pergunto se alguém está assistindo isso aqui, na verdade. Vamos ver. De qualquer forma, eu estou fazendo, é uma forma de eu manter a concentração na corrida. Realmente aproveito muito mais quando estou narrando ela do que quando eu fico só assistindo. Vontade de fazer outra coisa, acaba não olhando a prova direito. E quando você não presta atenção no meio, depois não pega direito o que está acontecendo. Aí pit stop, olha, o pessoal se juntou, todo mundo parando agora, finalmente eles vão poder reabastecer. Então todo mundo vai ter que parar para reabastecer, pois já foram 32 voltas de corrida.
Kelly Martin Truex Jr. coming in second. They warned him pit road might be a little bit slick, so take it careful here coming into the pit box. He said the car is a little bit tighter than he would like, but it's freeing as he goes. They expect to take 4 Goodyear tires here. Bottom of the screen, Kyle Busch.
O carro do Truex um pouco mais dianteiro.
He said the car is staying better with me during this run. All he wanted was a fresh water, no changes, Kelly.
O carro do Truex um pouco mais dianteiro, mas ficando melhor à medida que passava a perna. Truex não quis mexer nada. Truex não, Kyle Busch não quis mexer nada, tá? Gostando do carro por enquanto. E aí os ajustes com Chase Elliott. Kyle Busch está disparado na frente, mas a pista vai mudar muito até o final da prova. Muitas vezes o cara que está tão bem agora não é bom sinal. Motivos de preocupações, provavelmente vão ter que fazer ajustes de carro para continuar no topo do desempenho. Esse cara entrando, vamos de novo para mais uma relargada. 16 voltas para o final do estágio. Pelo menos agora valendo, né? Agora sim cruzar a linha 16 voltas.
Full for Ryan Blaney in the 21. And side by side behind them for fourth, Logano in the 22. And Logano trying to get by the 20 of Matt Kenseth, has the inside line.
Logan tentando passar Kenseth. Conseguiu. Bela e boa briga dos dois.
So he was on pit road fixing that. As we see a pass trying to be made there by Jamie McMurray. McMurray goes by Kenseth as well. Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, and Kevin Harvick, top 5.
And Rick, a lot's been made out of Kyle Larson in that red and white number 42 there, third in line.
Boa briga aí, 5 carros muito próximos. McMurray na frente. Acho que é do sexto em diante. É por ali. O Johnson passando o companheiro de equipe. Vai ser mais fácil de ultrapassar. Normalmente.
Rick, one of the things that happens after a big rain delay is that the track is what they call green, and tire wear can be a bit excessive. You see the 20 car of Matt Kenseth right there, that's the inner shoulder.
Olha ali a parte interna do pneu do Kenseth. Cuidado sempre, depois da chuva a pista fica muito verde e o desgaste de pneus é maior do que o normal. Já tivemos 2 chuvas, né? Então, mais ainda do que o normal após mais do que normal após um atraso por causa da chuva. Principalmente para os pilotos que não pararam para trocar pneus na volta 8. Mesmo que a gente teve amarelo ali, foi na volta 31, mas muitas das voltas foram sob bandeira amarela. Mesmo assim, bastante desgaste no pneu.
required a second trip down pit road. There was a hole in the nose just below the Camry.
Denny Hamlin com problemas no nariz do carro. Será que foi ali?
Of him following Ryan Newman down pit road. You'll see him check up real quick. Denny Hamlin makes a little bit of contact there, and just below that
acaba acertando o Ryan Newman.
That's where the hole was in the nose. They put some tape on it. You can already see that tape not quite holding like they would like it, but Mike Wheeler did tell me they think they got it fixed if that tape can hold on.
One of the things NASCAR requires, if there is body damage to one of the cars, they're put on a clock, a 5-minute clock. And the 11 came down pit road. They did the repairs to the front end of that car. He goes back out on the track. As long as he meets minimum speed, that clock resets. And so that 5-minute clock goes away. And already we can tell that Denny has met the minimum speed. So
Hamilton, não estou falando dos 25 minutos para consertar o carro. Mas o Hamilton não tem problema disso.
That's really the biggest change in the rule that's going to affect the 11 today. The clock, I don't think will affect the 11, but the issue is NASCAR has also limited what teams are allowed to do. You can't add metal.
O maior problema
é
que agora, a partir desse ano, os carros não podem mais pegar lataria adicional quando você amassa alguma coisa. Tem que consertar, usar fita tape ou tirar, mas não pode mais fazer uma cópia da lataria e colocar por cima como uma segunda tampa de motor. E isso vai prejudicar o Denny Hamlin. Ainda mais aqui, que é uma pista que não tem muita inclinação. O grip aerodinâmico é muito importante.
That's a mark that he's looking for. He knows when he wants to have his car up against that patch. Now as he's going down the back straightaway, he's thinking about his braking zone. On the right-hand side, you'll see there, a number there, and a number there. He knows what number he wants to lift on. Now he's picking for that concrete patch in this corner. Accelerate hard off of turn 3. Turn 4 has a lot of grip compared to turn 2. Really push the car hard right here. Carry a lot of speed through the middle because these long straightaways, if you don't run well through 4 and 2, you cannot make lap time. It leads to the long straights.
Well, with 10 to go in this stage, the lead has actually shrunk a little bit for Kyle Busch. He's been pretty relaxed at a
A liderança diminuiu um pouco agora, com 10 voltas para o final do estágio. Martin Truex chegando. Estava preocupado com a vibração, então pode estar diminuindo um pouco o ritmo.
Well, remember, Rick, yesterday in the Xfinity race, Kyle Busch had a winning race car and was in winning position. And they chose to pit not for fuel, but for tires in the last run of that race because they did have a vibration. Tire wear was excessive. We've already seen a few
na Xfinity, o Kyle Busch teve que parar por causa que tinha uma vibração nos pneus. Vamos ver se dessa vez não é o mesmo caso. Igual, e daqui a 9 voltas acabou o estágio, já vai ter uma nova amarela. Eu não preciso ter tanta pressa assim.
15 laps of that race with a major vibration. He was shocked that the tire lived for the entire race, and that's what's so difficult about a vibration for a driver.
Estou gravando isso aqui entre narrar a prova da Light Series e a Pro Series, que é em Indianápolis também, na Nascar Brasil. Tem que cuidar para não ver nenhum spoiler da corrida, desta corrida aqui. Por isso também já estou tentando adiantar essa prova da NASCAR, acabar a narração dela de uma vez.
It's Kyle Busch who's out front by 3/4 of a second over Martin Truex Jr. at Indianapolis. It's been documented the 24 of Chase Elliott knew he had a problem. They lifted the hood, tried to find and diagnose what that problem was, couldn't find it, and just last lap, smoke starts rolling out and the engine expires for Chase Elliott.
Problemas aí com o Chase Elliott.
Right there for the crew, the engine manufacturer is going to feel awful about the failure, the team. I mean, you're never really even got a chance, Jeff, to see what kind of car you had.
It's such a huge race too. It's such a letdown to have a problem at the Brickyard, one of the biggest races of the year.
Kelly.
And I can tell you that Alan Gustis and the crew chief was working with the engine guys to still come up with a diagnosis, even as the engine blew. At one point, they had talked about changing the ECU. Obviously, Chase now on his way back to the garage where they hope to find out what the cause of the issue was, and we're going to also try to get a word with Chase.
It's the first time that Chase Elliott has ever had an engine failure to where he wasn't able to finish a race. We can see who's on the move, brought to you by Chevy. 29 spots for Jimmy Johnson, who changed to rear end gear.
Jimmy Johnson já está em nono lugar. Caramba.
That's why you see him up into the top 10 and 29
Parabéns.
positions gained already by Jimmy.
And Jimmy was excited about his car. He and I had a conversation. He told me that that car had real speed in it. He was concerned, though, in starting in the back of being able to get there quick enough, because he knew once he got to 6th, 7th, 5th, that it was going to get much harder to pass. So I think he's gotten there a little quicker than he thought. Now he has a little more time to assess where his car needs to be better against the better cars. That's going to pay dividends, because right now, with this stage ended in 2 laps, they can start working on their car where it needs to be better, and he's comparing it to the best cars, and that's an advantage, Steve.
Well, it is. It's you know, the cars drive different from 50th to 5th, you know, as you get closer to the front. Even though they look like they're strung out, it's just something about the total cars in front of you on the racetrack and the way they get
Duas voltas pro final do estágio.
moving around and very turbulent. So the longer you run up front, the better chance you'll have of making the right adjustments for the end of the race.
Kyle Busch has led all 48 laps. If he continues along this pace, is able to get to the end of the stage and leads lap 51, which would be right after the end of the stage, he will have led 400 consecutive miles at this racetrack because he led the last
Kyle Busch liderou todas as voltas até então.
That's pretty amazing. To lead 400
E
consecutive
completando, se passar a volta 51, 52, vai ter liderado 400 milhas consecutivas aqui na Brickyard, juntando todas as voltas da prova do ano anterior. Todas as voltas que liderou perto do final da prova do ano anterior, ou melhor, ali cerca de 300 milhas finais da prova anterior e as primeiras 100 aqui, mais ou menos isso.
It would be second most to the guy right behind him if he's able to hang on. It looks as though he will as he comes in front of the grandstands. And Kyle Busch is going to win stage 1 at Indianapolis.
E Kyle Busch vence o estágio 1.
It was a half a second gap between 1 and 2.
10 pontos para ele, mais um ponto de playoff. Esse ponto de bônus do playoff se carrega, só não leva para home. Se todas as outras etapas do playoff você vai poder utilizá-lo, então é muito importante.
Very important to continue to work on your race car, because there was a big gap back to 3rd, but as you pointed out, Martin Truex Jr. was right there on the rear bumper of Kyle Busch. So with 110 laps to go in this entire race, I think it's going to be important for Adam Stevens and Kyle Busch to communicate and keep working on the 18. And that's very hard to do sometimes when you're the leader. You know, you don't want to make your car worse, so it's hard to strive for a better handling race car when you have dominated and led the first 50 laps.
Well, and you always want to lead laps. We talked about Jimmy Johnson being in the position that he's been in, racing against the better cars a little sooner than he thought, but he's been back in traffic. So he's going to work on his car based on what he's feeling in traffic. Kyle Busch hadn't had that look. He does not know how his car is going to drive if he gets back in the pack. So,
o problema do Kyle Busch até agora é não pôde andar no tráfego. Afinal, está liderando todas as voltas. O Jimmy Johnson já sabe como ajustar o carro para ultrapassar outros.
Pit stops and restarts, so important at Indianapolis. Well, tonight,
Jeff Gordon era que sabia andar muito bem em primeiro e às vezes trocava pneus ou alguma coisa no pit stop, porque largava lá em 7º lugar e não conseguia mais escalar o pelotão. Ele tinha um ajuste de carro que era muito bom no ar limpo e se prejudicava quando estava no tráfego.
We don't really know. Some type of motor issue. Went down a cylinder and then started blowing smoke out the pipes. I don't know what it was. We'll dig into it and see. But I mean, I've been racing Hendrick engine since 2013, and this is the
Interessante que esse motor explodido não trouxe a bandeira amarela.
The best engine shop in the business, and so that's going to happen. We're pushing it as everyone is. So we'll move on to next week and see what we got there.
Yeah, his first engine failure in the Cup Series, Rick.
Primeira falha de motor do Chase Elliott na Cup Series.
Chase Elliott still looking for his first win in the Monster Energy Cup Series, just 21 years old, the son of Hall of Fame.
Apenas 21 anos. Muito jovem. Tem muito que aprender ainda. Normalmente leva 2 anos de aprendizado e a partir do terceiro que os pilotos começam a brilhar na Nascar principal. Poucos pilotos, só o Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, entre outros muito poucos, que venceram o campeonato já na segunda temporada. Aliás, nem sei se venceram já na segunda, ao menos brigaram pelo campeonato. Tiveram um ano de sucesso. Chase Elliott, que ano passado estava muito bem, acho que ele também tinha um carro que ainda estava sendo ajustado, foi desenvolvido em parte com a ajuda do Jeff Gordon. E agora é ele mais que está dando as informações para o desenvolvimento do carro. Não é mais tão rápido assim na pista, mas a Hendrick em geral não está tão rápida este ano, né? O Jimmy Johnson, aliás, ele nunca está tão rápido em todas as etapas, mas quando ele venceu o maior número de corridas do ano e está lá brigando pelo campeonato, vencendo o campeonato inclusive. Nunca se sabe.
Hey, Kyle, it's Jeff up in the NBC booth. You with us?
How's it going?
Well, it's going good here. It looks like it's going great down there. You've going back to last year, you've led over 400 consecutive miles.
Se tem problema no vídeo, pausei. Entrevista aí com o Kyle Busch.
Yeah, I'd like to think so, but there's another fast Toyota behind us there. So our Skittles Camry's good though, and feeling pretty good where it's at. Just hoping to keep the track position, obviously. Continue doing what we're doing here, and get pit stop, keep up with the racetrack, and again, just I like it when there's nobody in my windshield.
Yeah, that's always a great view for a driver. But hey, just between you and me, nobody else is listening. Why are you so good here?
I think it's just because I married a girl from Indiana.
Por que Kyle Busch é tão rápido aqui? Ah, eu acho que é porque eu casei com uma garota de Indianápolis, de Indiana, do estado de Indiana. Boa resposta. Então ele liderou as últimas 109 voltas da etapa anterior. Tentando e liderou 51 até agora nesta etapa.
Take a look at the stage results presented by Ford Performance.
Na corrida desta temporada.
Each driver in the top 10 earns stage points.
Mas estava dominando até agora, mas já falou, tem um Toyota bem rápido logo atrás de mim. Tava chegando ali. Martin Truex.
Points total gets 15 extra playoff points, and on down from there for the top 10. The winner of the stage also gets 1 playoff point. Once again goes into the playoffs, and they're able to carry those as far as they go in the playoffs, all the way up until the last race at Miami. Let's go to Rutledge Wood.
Rick, I'm up here in one of the IndyCar spotter stands. I'm in the spot where one of Tony Kanaan's spotters is, and what I can see behind me is, of course, the pagoda way over here. We've got a spotter on the front side and one on the back side that are working opposite sides of the track. The one thing I wonder, Jeff Burton, it seems like I can't see the backstretch here at all because of the trees. How much, from a driver's perspective, can the spotters actually see from up here, and how helpul is it on the turns?
Não dá para ver nada do outro canto. Não é à toa que tem 2 spotters por piloto aqui em Indianápolis. É porque as arquibancadas não são tão altas comparadas com Daytona, por exemplo, ou Talladega.
Spotters will be very important, especially on this restart, as they are 2x2 once again. And again, Kyle Busch has chosen the outside line for the restart. Martin Truex Jr. on the inside. And back up through the gears they go.
Relargada aí. Segundo estágio agora. Vai até a volta 100 da corrida. Já estamos a 56, é um pouco mais curto o estágio. Teoricamente, se bem que tivemos muitas voltas em amarela no primeiro estágio, com as chuvas, parada de competição. Vamos ver quantas voltas dessas 56 serão em bandeira verde. Kyle Larson passando Ryan Blaney. Já ia dizer Trevor Blaney, mas ele não está mais no 21 faz tempo. 2011 era o Trevor Blaney.
Jimmy Johnson, Clint Boyer, and Jamie McMurray all in the top 10. See the speeds as they go through the turn. Saw there Larson.
Bandeira amarela. E tem pelo menos 3 carros envolvidos, ao menos tinha fumaça mais para frente ali. A amarela volta 57.
Damage on the back of his car and on the front of his car.
Those two are nose to tail and
e tem mais um carro envolvido, 38. Amassou bastante esse aí.
You see the fluid had come out of that car.
Fim de prova para ele.
He had to stop. Let's take a look at what happened.
Vamos ver o que aconteceu. 38 Reagan. O 7 parece que perdeu a frente do carro, tocou no 38. As duas câmeras ali não deixaram ver direito. A disputa forte. É o 38, não deu muito espaço para um do McMurray, 38 do Reagan. O DJ ele. Mas é aquela coisa, quando você fica logo à frente e por fora do carro que está por dentro, você tira o ar do spoiler traseiro dele, e foi o caso que aconteceu com o McMurray. E ele acabou tendo que usar o resto da pista para tentar corrigir, só que não tinha espaço ali, os dois se tocaram e rodaram. Pelo menos mais um também se envolveu aí, pelo menos 3 carros nesta amarela.
Kyle Busch. Well, Rick, you talk about a restart. Well, the first decision is, do you pit or not? And while I expect Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., the leaders to stay out, in 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr., he came into pit road 10th, but Martin came off from pit road 20th.
And now 22nd, Steve, and from the Now We've Heard It All category, taking the lug nuts off the right rear. One lug nut shot into the part of the gun that switched it from off to on to actually tighten lug nuts 3, 4, and 5 instead of loosening lug nuts 3, 4, and 5. That little bobble on pit road in the very
Uma das porcas acabou batendo no botão da pistola que tira as porcas e inverteu ela, ao invés de soltar a porca do pneu que era para sair, acabou apertando. E com isso o Dale Earnhardt, quando parou nos pits, caiu de 10º para 20º lugar.
You know, Steve, we hear that a lot.
Essa é nova.
Guns switching directions. You think you're tightening them, and all of a sudden the gun switches and it untightens it, or vice versa. You have to wonder, if so much work being done on these guns, if in trying to make them work faster, they're not causing some kind of problem, because this has become a common issue where the guns end up running the wrong direction.
Well, you heard.
Não é a primeira vez que dá problema das pistolas andando na direção contrária nessas últimas provas, inclusive. Todo mundo indo até o limite com essas pistolas, basicamente. Cada time faz a sua própria. E realmente, primeiro você tem que abrir para soltar as porcas do primeiro pneu e depois apertar. Então tem que ter um mecanismo de inverter a pistola rapidamente. E tem que cuidar para esse mecanismo não ser acionado de forma tão fácil. Cuidar aí para não perder um pneu na pista. Piloto que deixa o pneu soltar na pista tem chefe de equipe suspenso por 4 semanas.
First it was have a good car, then it was take advantage of the timelines on pit road. Now we're talking about, then it was good pit stops, now we're talking about good pit equipment.
It wasn't that long ago that we were absolutely blown away when somebody would have a sub 12-second pit stop, and everybody was pointing at, say, Joe Gibbs Racing, as we see the 21 of Ryan Blaney's making his way, and a few others are coming in as well.
So Rick, I was mistaken. The last time by, pit roads were closed. That's why we didn't see anybody come to pit road.
Ninguém parou na última passagem porque o pit estava fechado. Foi isso que falou agora o Steve Tati. Tem muita gente parando para trocar pneus e já reabastecer. 41 voltas para o final. Talvez tenha combustível para ir até o final do estágio. Apenas combustível para Keselowski. Ryan Blaney também. Quase todo mundo só botando combustível, tentando poupar os pneus para o final da prova. Tem um jogo de pneus limitados por equipe. Não é tão limitado assim, mas não dá para abusar.
Getting off strategy. Some drivers making the way to pit road with the possibility of being able to stay out and win stage 2. Kyle Busch is out front. He was stage 1 winner. Welcome back to NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series Racing from Indianapolis. Telecast presented by Golden Corral.
Vamos então para a relargada. Já. Eu vou fazer uma pausa e já voltei. Ok, estamos de volta. Já fiz uma atualização naquela tabelinha das posições. Esta aqui foi a amarela de número 4. Ah, pula isso aí. Para a relargada. Tem corrida ainda pela frente.
And we've been focusing on a few different people other than drivers, crew chiefs that put in a lot of work with the pit crew all-stars. Let's go to Parker Kligerman.
Right, Rick, and I'm actually with the rear tire changer, Joe Slingerman for AJ Allmendinger in the 47 team. And Joe, I want to offer you this t-shirt, the Pit Crew All-Star t-shirt that you get here. This pretty awesome t-shirt right there. And Joe actually got into racing through your father, who's a late model racer in Florida, and then actually did something fun recently with our own Steve Letarte where you built a park in Mooresville for kids. Just tell us a little about that.
Yeah, it was for the YMCA, and Steve had us come out. It was a huge event. A lot of people from racing came out and did it, but it was awesome to build something like that and give your time back to the community for the kids.
And that's what Joe is all about, giving back to the community, guys, one of our Pit Crew All-Stars.
Joe's he's the perfect example of a Pit Crew All-Star. He's a great tire changer, great physical conditioning, but more than that, just a great person. We got a group of people together to go out and work on that, and he was the first one to volunteer, was excited to go out and do it. He's what that entire program is about, recognize the men and women that make this sport go, make these cars go, but it's more than just the work they do on Sunday.
And there's still quite a few guys with a lot of work still to do on this Sunday. And the yellow lights come back on the pace car, meaning they will go.
E a amarela vai durar por mais um tempo.
So Rick, I think there's some crew chiefs, Marty. They're going to be pretty excited to see one more caution lap. I was thinking that these teams could go 41 laps really without a problem.
Chefes de equipe vão gostar de ter mais uma volta, pois daí a estratégia do combustível vai ser mais fácil de ir até o final do estágio sem parar. É melhor também para assistir, pois os pilotos vão forçar mais, senão fica todo mundo economizando combustível e ninguém corre. Não acontece disputa, não acontece acidente. A gente passa aí um estágio inteiro em branco.
We're going to be one lap short, so that's why they topped off. So now all these teams who pitted on lap 59, Steve, feeling pretty good about it. I think they can make it to the end of this stage. All the drivers and teams in front of them will definitely have to pit again for the stage.
Então todo mundo que parou agora na volta 59, quase certos de que vão ir até o final do estágio sem ter que parar de novo para reabastecer. Pneus é outra história. Todo mundo que está na frente deles vai ter que parar de novo para reabastecer. Pneu, outra história, eu digo, tem como ir até o final com aquele pneu, mas caso tenha uma amarela, talvez seja bom parar para trocar 2 pneus, os 4, quem sabe. Vamos ver. 38 voltas para o final do estágio. A relargada 37. Na última amarela, Yale, Jeffrey Earnhardt, David Reagan e Mark Murray. Todos os 4 envolvidos. Com o pior para o Reagan, que abandonou a prova. Boyer falou, se tiver outra amarela, quase certo que a gente vai estar muito próximo de chegar sem ter que parar de novo. Caso não tenha amarela, talvez entrar aí no modo de economia de combustível. O Boyer que está relargando aí na 7ª posição. 4º carro pela linha de fora. 8ª posição, digo. Relargada. Volta 64.
Harvick on the inside, Kyle Larson on the outside. Harvick's going to take 4th. Larson back to 5th. Kenseth moving up though to the inside, trying to take that 5th spot away from Kyle Larson. And Kenseth makes the pass going into turn 3.
How about Joey Logano right here running in 3rd? We've documented the day that Brad Keselowski is having. Joey Logano, his teammate, running in 3rd position. Keselowski in 22nd. Joey told me he thought his car had short run speed. Wasn't sure what it was going to be like on a long run, but
Joey achou que o carro dele estava rápido para perna curta, não sabia como é que ia ser na longa. Mas as primeiras voltas após a largada parece que estava bem.
About this 22 car. How about his pit crew though? They have gained him a collective 5 spots on pit road, and Joey's backing up with the speed on the racetrack, and they all know at Team Penske how important Indianapolis is to Roger Penske. In fact, Todd Gordon told me when I interviewed there's a large picture of Roger with all 16 of his Indianapolis 500 trophies. You don't have to think very hard about how much this place means to the captain.
Well, this track in particular, Marty, does mean a great deal. Think about all the wins Roger Penske has had, but Joey Logano and this team, they're fighting for their playoff life. They're 17th. They're below that cut line. No win. They're going to have to win a race or find their way to gain a ton of points on Clint Boyer, on Matt Kenseth. So a good race at Indy could go a long way to moving them back in position to be in those playoffs.
É uma boa corrida aqui em Indy. Já vai estar muito mais próximo de disputar uma posição nos playoffs pelos pontos.
Than we had hoped for, and we're feeling the same way here. The one adjustment they really made was at the end of final practice, the car was a little bit tough for Kevin to drive right here, a little bit too much of the back end coming around, getting into the corner, and so they worked on that, got that right for final practice, and it's been that way good today.
Kevin Harvick estava com problema na curva 3, foi o único problema maior que eles tentaram ajustar e agora está muito feliz com o carro.
He has to turn sooner than Joey Logano. Watch, Joey Logano is going to stay out a little later. Harvick has to turn a little sooner. If he doesn't, and he doesn't get that left front fender out behind the 22, his car will never turn. It loses all that downforce. So
Harvick, por causa que está muito próximo do Logano, acaba virando um pouquinho antes para tentar pegar um pouco de ar no nariz e assim tentar superar o problema da deficiência aerodinâmica quando você está colado atrás do carro da frente. E por causa dessa dificuldade de ultrapassar, a estratégia é muito mais importante. Vamos ver perto do final da prova o que vai acontecer com esse pneu aí que é um pouco mais macio. Antes o pneu era tão duro que era sempre importante ficar na pista, o pneu era detalhe. Agora não, quem sabe pode ter pilotos aí com estratégias variadas. Já viu o Clint Bowyer quando parou, o jeito que ele veio escalando o pelotão. Depois, por ter um pneu 10 voltas mais novo do que os outros pilotos.
Track position, but some with a great pit stop in their last stop. They gave him about 5 positions on pit road, and then on the restart here, he's gotten himself into the top 10. A great run for the rookie Daniel Suarez. And behind him, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in that 17 car. Remember, won at Daytona this year, and also Talladega this year. Ricky Stenhouse's crew chief Brian Patty came across the radio just a little bit ago and said, "You're doing top 3 lap times. Keep it up." Both these guys marching to the front.
That Sunny D360 camera from inside the car.
Makes me nervous, Rick, as a driver. When that camera starts spinning, I'm like, oh no.
As you mentioned, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. running in the 11th spot just behind Daniel Suarez, who's made his way up into the top 10. Kyle Busch has about a 9/10 of a second lead over Martin Truex Jr., Joey Logano,
Kyle Busch.
Matt Kenseth. They are the top 5.
7 décimos, 9 décimos a vantagem. O cara falou 9, agora estava 75, está aumentando de novo. Mas o Truex muito próximo do Kyle Busch. Ali os dois. Logano vem bem em terceiro lugar, segurando o Harvick. E todo mundo atrás. Aí o problema de Indianápolis, como é difícil de ultrapassar. McMurray tentando passar o Clint Bowyer.
Nascar terms. Well, a Packer is a very simple adjustment. So if we go underneath our cutaway car here,
Packers.
you look at the right front suspension, we're going to take the tire off. We're going to look this area right here. That's the bump stop. That's really what the car rides around. As you see,
olha o amortecedor.
That squishes, it stops the travel, keeps the car from hitting the
Ele se coloca aquela pecinha ali para tentar endurecer o amortecedor. É uma das formas que as equipes, os mecânicos podem ajustar o carro durante o pit stop. Perde uns 3 segundos a mais ali no pit stop, mas é um ajuste relativamente rápido. E pode ter um bom efeito no comportamento do carro. E o 7 de novo no muro. Será que vai ter amarela? Parece que estourou o pneu. J.J. Allen. Olha o jeito que está o pneu, muito para fora. Devemos ter amarela. Deve ter porca voando por aí. Mas ele tá... já está entrando no box. Talvez não. Agora sim. Os fiscais sempre param para olhar e ter certeza de que tem algum detrito antes de acionar a amarela. Mas aí está. Mais uma amarela. Será que agora o pessoal para no box ou fica na pista? Falta 71. Saiu a amarela.
You said it. He was in that earlier incident, and it seems like every week we see a car get in an incident. They try to get the car back on the racetrack. Fenders don't get cleared. Something's rubbing a tire. Tire blows in the wall again.
Steve, you mentioned it earlier. You can't add body parts anymore to these cars. The only thing they can do is pull the fenders away.
Lembrando, não dá para colocar novos pedaços. Não dá para substituir a lataria do carro. Só desamassar o que já tem. Ou consertar com fita tape. Parece que o dano agora não foi só na lataria e também na suspensão. Normalmente quando bate assim, o pneu estourado, é dano terminal ou vai perder um bom tempo consertando na garagem. Parar ou não, se parar para botar pneus, quantos pneus? E quem já parou, será que para de novo?
is he going to think that he needs tires? We think he has enough fuel, but with 8 laps on his tires, will he be able to keep up?
Ele está em 16º primeiro dos que parou, só que ele não tá com... Ele não botou pneus novos, ele só fez combustível na última parada. Podemos ter gente aí que fique fora dos que já tem combustível, apesar de não ter pneus novos. Vamos ver. Por enquanto todo mundo parando. E lá atrás agora alguns ficando na pista.
And the top guys, as you mentioned, coming down pit road, really wasn't much of a choice for these guys, as Adam Stevens told Kyle Busch, hey, we've got to have fuel to make it to the end, so there's no reason that we
todo mundo parando aí, eles precisavam de combustível. Gasolina, não pode ser chamado. Olha a boa briga aí na saída, Logano para a segunda posição. Só que agora eles não vão relargar na frente. Muitos carros aí, uns 6, 7 ficando na pista. Truex falando que o carro dele começa um pouco solto e depois vai ficando melhor. E realmente dá pra ver no final aí, um pouco antes de sair a amarela, estava colado atrás do Kyle Busch. Então o ajuste está dando certo por enquanto.
Look at this, there are people everywhere. When you take a look right over here, you can see fans just lining the entire curves here between 3 and 4. And what's funny is that we're
3 e 4 fãs em volta da curva toda aí por dentro. É um bom lugar aí, tomando cerveja, sentado, na grama.
And I can tell you this, I'm pretty sure I found, speaking of pit stop, I think I found Steve's dancing shoes, which may or may not have been danced off last night at Chainsmokers. Is that right, Steve?
Well, my dancing shoes were well on the ground, but my 11-year-old daughter, when DNCE and Chainsmoker comes to town, you go to the concert. So we were there, right? We were out in the field with everybody at 400.
Steve Letater e a filha dele foram assistir o show ontem. Filha fã desse Chainsmokers.
Steve, you must have danced a lot because all these people down here love you. They just kept asking, where's Steve?
I was a grumpy old man. Where's all that music coming from?
I like to make an impression, Rod.
It's that loud music. And what an incredible concert it was last night, and a great atmosphere here.
E vamos para a relargada. Já vamos fazer uma pequena pausa. Ok, continuando aí. Aí todas as estratégias diferentes. Em qual volta foi o último pit stop de cada um? Eric Jones 52, Ryan Blaney e Keselowski similar 59, Newman e Hamlin pararam na última volta da amarela na 61, Kyle Busch e Logano na 72. Vamos ver as estratégias misturadas aí. Que efeito vai ter na corrida? Isso vai apimentar, é uma das coisas que só temos na Nascar, praticamente, que é muito bom de ver aqui na Nascar. Uma pena que não tem nas outras categorias. Só que aqui não é pista curta não, não é Bristol, Martinsville, Richmond ou até Dover. Aqui a velocidade é outra e se bater, bate forte. Vamos ver essas largadas. Podemos ter uma prova bastante acidentada a partir de agora. Phoenix é outra que tem bastante de misturar as estratégias. Eric Jones tentando ir o máximo que dá sem economizar combustível. Se precisar, vai ter que economizar no final. Caso tenha uma nova amarela, não precisa economizar. E ainda daí fica na frente. Eric Jones, então, liderando o pelotão na relargada. Volta a 76, 25 para o final do estágio. Por enquanto, relargando bem. Todo mundo embolado lá atrás, quase 3 carros ao lado. Kyle Busch bastante agressivo na relargada. Ty Dillon tem que soltar o pé no meio do tri-wide e embola o pelotão lá atrás. Já estou vendo fumaça saindo ali. Provavelmente alguém acabou batendo, amassou o radiador. E é o Dale Jr. na sua última Brickyard 400. Nova amarela. Deve estar jogando fluido na pista.
His final Brickyard 400 appearance is going to end early.
Fim de provas para o Dale Jr. Parece bem provável que seja fim de prova. Você só pode ir para a garagem se o seu problema é mecânico, não originado de um acidente. Isso aí foi por causa do acidente. Deve ser fim de prova do Dale Jr. Também, se tivesse que ir para a garagem, ia perder muitas voltas, não ia recuperar as posições. Acho que foi aquele bolo ali, lá na frente tiveram que soltar o pé. Não parece que foi uma batida tão forte. Incrível como um pequeno toque assim já acabou com a prova do Dale Earnhardt Jr.
These race cars now are built very aggressively to try to keep up. I mean, every one of the fields trying to build the lightest car possible that makes the most downforce, and just right there between the bumper bars.
Things go bad that quickly. There he goes, out of the race.
Climbing out of the car.
Mais uma amarela.
Came out of the 88s. Again, Dale Earnhardt Jr. announced earlier this year he was going to retire from racing full time. And so these racetracks that we either come to once a year or coming to for the final time in 2017, the fans getting their final glimpse of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in a driver's suit.
Series of bad events. You know, they just don't seem to be able to get the finishes. They run a little better than they finish, but Dale has kept a positive attitude. He's been upbeat. He's been energetic. He's been excited to be at the racetrack. I think even though this hasn't gone well, he's enjoyed himself at the racetrack since he's made his announcement.
Apesar de não ter tido as melhores chegadas, está sempre correndo melhor do que a posição que ele está chegando em cada prova, a maioria das vezes. Dale Earnhardt Jr. está curtindo, sem pressão, desde que ele anunciou a aposentadoria, está se divertindo e curtindo o que tem aí para fazer.
There was nothing you could do. You're always thinking, what could I done? What did I do wrong? You know, what did I do to end our day? And I know that's going through his head right now. And just, gosh, I wish I could have found a way to prevent that from happening. But sometimes you just can't prevent it.
It was a big news for this 88 as well. Remember, they just this week mentioned Alex Bowman will be the driver of this 88 next year. We've talked a lot about Dale's announcement, but the circle was kind of closed on who will be in that seat. So you can see the disappointment in the fans as well.
As I was coming in this morning, there were three guys that jumped out of a van right next to me and started walking up the sidewalk. All three of them had 88 Dale Jr. t-shirts on, and they were excited to come watch their favorite driver. He's been the fan favorite for over a decade now. Although this doesn't play into the hands of the 88 team or Dale Earnhardt Jr., it definitely is going to help drivers like Eric Jones, who was trying to stretch his fuel, and under a caution, they're going to use about half as much fuel as they would going around this racetrack if they were going wide open.
Well, there's a lot of information in that radio that we listened to in the 77, but basically what I heard was, hey, we're a lap and a half short, save some under the yellow. He talked about some other options. None of those matter now because they have some more yellows. So Eric Jones, I'm sure, has been given instructions throughout his career.
Todo cuidado para economizar combustível, agora diminuindo bastante toda a preocupação.
So there's a lot of ways the drivers can actually save fuel while running slowly behind the pace car.
28 laps complete of the stage 2 50 laps, 22 to go. We return. It's NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Indianapolis. This telecast presented by Golden Corral.
So we have this great view on the helmet cam of Kurt Busch. Well, we want to show you, we just saw the 88 get knocked out on a restart. Well, here is a shot out the front window, and right there, that's the rear view mirror, and to the left there is his left side mirror. This will show you, Jeff, just how chaotic it is, restarting in the 12th position.
But before he looks
A
at those
visão
mirrors,
do
he's got to figure out when to
retrovisor.
restart. Listen to the throttle. Trying to go, can't go yet, can't go. Finally, he can go wide open. You can see, he can't see the car in front of Daniel Suarez. He can only see the left lane. You have to judge off that left lane. Now the chaos starts in turn 1.
So now he tries to time turn 1. He has to check up. The 19 of Suarez is in his way.
Preso atrás do Soares. Pensa em fazer um three-wide, mas resolve não arriscar.
Still tries to fight to the bottom, but look at that left side mirror, the one we discussed right there. Look right there. You continue to see cars. The 17 of Ricky Stenhouse fills the gap. And you're helpless, Jeff. There's nothing you can do if there's not a lane to protect. That's what makes restarts so difficult through 1 and 2.
That is so incredible that we have that opportunity to see that. Thank you to Ford Performance, Monster Energy. What an amazing
show de imagens.
From the driver's perspective on a restart. Another one coming. Eric Jones on the
mais uma relargada.
Ryan Blaney aggressively side-drafted Eric Jones. We haven't seen
Volta
a lot of that so far, but Ryan Blaney, that's the most aggressive restart we've seen from the
Cuidado aí. Lane relargando por fora, fazendo passão que nem aquele do Jeff Gordon em cima do Casey Kane. E o bolo aí com pneus velhos, segurando quem tem pneus novos, vem por trás. 4 carros lado a lado. Tentando aproveitar enquanto pode na relargada. É muito difícil depois que entra em trenzinho. Os carros por todo lado aqui. Diferente da corrida tradicional que a gente tem aqui em Indianápolis, que é muito mais comportada normalmente. Tá bom de ver assim, tá bom. Logano, Harvick e o Matt Kenseth, acho que tá por dentro ali. 3 carros ao lado, olha só esse pega. 4 carros. Uau! Cuidado aí. Essas brigas com estágio deixou o pessoal muito menos acomodado. Jimmy Johnson querendo bloquear. Kyle Larson não está feliz, mas todo mundo está sendo agressivo. Então aí finalmente deixa passar. E perdeu muito tempo com isso. Perdeu 3 posições com isso. E mais briga ali na frente. 3 carros ao lado novamente. Matt Kenseth logando, a velha rivalidade. Agora também por posições e pontos no campeonato. Que relargada intensa isso daqui, muito bom. Foi até lá dentro, o Kyle Larson não gostou nem um pouco.
Up the racetrack he went. Kyle Larson goes by, as did Kurt Busch. Jamie McMurray also got clear. Daniel Suarez also running in front of the 48 now.
Soares também na frente do 48 agora.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. number 17. He's running 17.
Stenhouse, número 17, correndo 17, agora 16.
Keselowski has fallen back to 6th now.
Keselowski caiu para 6º. Como é que estão aqueles pilotos com pneus novos? Onde é que eles estão agora? E falando aí com Dale Earnhardt Jr. na entrevista. Reação em cadeia, toquei na traseira do outro carro ali. Estragou o radiador. Acertamos o 2, mais ou menos a mesma coisa. E já tinha estragado um pouco da frente do radiador. E agora batemos de novo. Então, depois da primeira já não tinha muita proteção. Tinha um carro certo para o top 10. Se tudo desse certo, né? Tô frustrado. Realmente estava gostando de andar com ele. Temos que fazer a nossa sorte virar aí. Quão difícil tá sendo essas relargadas, parece que uma luta de briga de rua ali fora. Elas são mesmo, mas é divertido, é assim mesmo. Só trocando de marcha, tentando fazer tudo o que puder para ter uma vantagem. Tentamos forte, conseguir o máximo possível de vantagem na relargada e fomos atingidos. Kurt Busch forçando 4 wide, 4 causa da lado naquela relargada insana, soltando o pé agora.
Hey Jeff, he thinks he might have a little splitter damage, does Kurt Busch. He's also got a voltage issue he's keeping an eye on, so not everything perfect right now for the driver of the 41.
Sorry, Dave, didn't mean to walk in. It was a great update. Well, his brother, Kyle Busch, has worked his way back through traffic. We talk about how difficult it is to pass at Indianapolis. Well, it does not seem to be difficult for the 18 of Kyle Busch.
Agora o Kyle Busch já estava ali brigando pela liderança e reassume a ponta, passando o Ryan Blaney. Já vem logo ali Martin Truex. Agora em terceiro. Já quase passou a Blaney antes da curva. Teve que soltar o pé, vai perder um pouco de contato em relação ao Kyle Busch. Mas segue forte na prova também o Martin Truex. Será que ele consegue passar o Kyle, alcançar e passar o Kyle Busch antes do final do estágio? E levar para casa mais um ponto de playoff?
Truex Jr. He's gone up through the field with Kyle Busch.
Martin Truex Jr. also passing Ryan Blaney, so Truex Jr. back up to second. That puts Blaney back to third. Eric Jones is fourth. Denny Hamlin is fifth. Let's take a look at today's Toyota driver update. Kyle Busch led the first 80 laps today.
Look at Denny Hamlin in fifth. Remember, Denny Hamlin had trouble. He had damage to his nose. He had to come in pit road, work on it, went to the back of the pack. He's worked himself back up to fifth.
Toyota drivers have led all but 6 laps today.
Toyota nas 5 primeiras posições. 4 Toyotas nas 5 primeiras posições.
Kyle Busch, after winning stage 1, came to pit road.
Dominando esse ano. Aliás, nem tanto, né? Só o Martin Truex. Os outros carros da Jock Gibbs não foram tão bem. E comercial em bandeira verde, fazia tempo que não tinha. Nascar non-stop.
You got a kitchen that's brand new, and you'd like to keep it that way too. You want to set out on your own so you can teach yoga and just say on. You're saving up for your family because the 2 of you are about to be 3. A little help can go a long way in your life, and Nationwide is on your side.
It's our steak and seafood bash. Mom wants the rancher's ribeye. That's a good call. Junior, the butterfly shrimp.
Bela comida. Ainda bem que já almocei hoje.
Golden Corral. Your choice rules.
Volta 90 de 160. Estamos vendo aí a briga do Ryan Blaney. E quem é que vem ali? É o Clint Bowyer? Enfim, é pela terceira posição. O Ryan Blaney já deixou o Kyle Busch passar. Agora o próximo carro ali ao 77. Eric Jones, que relargou em primeiro. Então a briga mais com o pneu parecido dos dois. E realmente, aí a gente vê o problema de Indianápolis, você consegue chegar muito próximo, mas não botar lado a lado. Tem que ter um carro muito mais rápido para ultrapassar. O problema já foi pior. Tinha época que o Montoya dominou aqui em Indianápolis. 2008, 2009, acho que foi 2007, 2008. Segundo ano que ele errou a estratégia, trocou 4 pneus quando a maioria trocou 2. Ele largou lá em oitavo, o 12º, não conseguiu passar quase ninguém na pista. Até ficar com a cabeça quente e bater.
We are Team USA. We are Team USA. Team USA. We are Team USA.
Opa, tá chegando aí as Olimpíadas de Inverno. Mas só em... Espera, deixa eu ver aqui. 20... Ah, só em fevereiro, 8 de fevereiro.
This season has been full of some of the most intense side-by-side racing in years, and even more dramatic moments than ever before. Visit NASCAR.com/tickets.
Tem que fazer uma pequena pausa, já volto aí. Ok, estamos de volta.
Sunday night with Megan Kelly. Out front, Kyle Busch now 2.2 second lead over Martin Truex Jr. Ryan Blaney, Eric Jones, and Denny Hamlin still holding on to top 5 positions. What an amazing career Kyle Busch has had at this racetrack.
2016 liderou 88% das voltas.
Last year, already 77 laps led today and counting.
And Rick, what makes that even more impressive, if it could be more impressive, is that's with 3 completely different rules. 3 years ago, it was this high downforce, thinking these cars were going to drive.
É verdade, foram regras bem diferentes há 3 anos atrás, ano passado e agora. Sete voltas para o final do estágio.
Or from Indiana, we should say Samantha. 10 years ago this weekend is when they met. He told me, I never thought I'd have a shot with her, but obviously he did, and they wound up getting married and have their beautiful son, Braxton. Back in second, Martin Truex Jr. said his car is starting to slide all over the place, and all year long we've seen that 78 car be better on the longer runs. Right now, he's having a tough time catching his corporate teammate, Kyle Busch. Ryan Blaney is back there in the 3rd position. When Kyle Busch went by him, he said the car has absolutely no turn in it right now at all. Glenn Wood, the patriarch for the Wood Brothers team, turned 92 this week, Kelly, believe it or not.
The rookie Eric Jones had hoped to be in a position to point his way into the playoffs, but after the wreck last week, his crew chief Chris Gale said we've got to strictly go for wins at this point. He said he'd be a little bit more aggressive on his play calls. He's done that just now. They're trying to stretch this fuel to the next stage end.
Kelly, Denny Hamlin's up in the 5th position. Yes, the same Denny Hamlin who had damage earlier in the race was back as far as 30th, but has now come back up through the field. And on that last
Denny Hamlin já está em 5º lugar.
When everybody else pitted, that's how they got all that track position back, Dave.
Kevin Harvick behind him, last pitted on lap 72. This run has been way looser according to the driver. Harder to drive the 4-car. You see a little wiggle right there. The 20 of Matt Kenseth.
Muito mais traseiro nesta perna, Kevin Harvick.
Position he could use right now. We'll see what they do in the next opportunity to pit.
Dave, Joey Logano hanging on to the 8th position right now, but they have problems inside the car, sort of. Take a listen on the radio if you can. And that is what Joey Logano's radio sounds like to the team. They've been having terrible time hearing him all day long. They've asked him to move his mic closer, to move it up. They are just having radio problems inside the car, so they're really having to guess how that 22 car is handling right now, Dave.
Jogando com problemas no rádio.
Last on pit road on lap 59, so his pit stops will be coming up. He should be able to make it to the end of the stage. However, that's the good news. The bad news is still not handling well, just less bad than earlier in the day, Cal.
Carro melhor do que antes, mas ainda não estava ok porque as lost.
of strategy has to come into play here now, Steve.
Well, I think the conversation is, as we come to 3 to go, if any of these drivers are going to try to get onto pit road and pit before the stage ends, it would have to come on this lap. And really, I think Kyle Busch is so fast, it's eliminated most of the drivers. There's really only the top 5 that have this chance, namely these 2 right here, Ryan Blaney and Eric Jones. Those would be the 2 that I think could pit and not lose a lap, Jeff.
We just heard a report from Kelly saying that Chris Gale said that they're not racing for points. They feel like they have to win. So why wouldn't you pit right here if you're Chris Gale and Eric Jones? Why not pit right here under green?
Well, we're actually sitting right next to Eric Jones's pit stall, and none of the crew members are up on the wall anticipating that 77 down.
Ninguém querendo antecipar a parada 77 lá na equipe dele. Ninguém no box. Parece que está querendo se preparando para o pit stop antecipado. Então, Eric Jones deve ter gasolina para até o final desse estágio. Só 3 voltas até o final.
During their pit stop, so the game has not been worth the reward. He's up inside the top 4, Jeff, so he wouldn't be gaining a ton of track position.
And to be clear, the reason we were saying he could pit is because he's close enough to the leader. This racetrack is so big. He's close enough to the leader where he could have pitted there, put on 4 tires of fuel with a good stop, and come back out in front of the leader. The risk is that you don't have a good stop. And now you're
Se você tem uma boa parada e ainda está perto do líder, você consegue parar sem perder volta. Mas é um pouco arriscado. Não tem muito a perder ficando na pista, já está em 4º lugar aí. Então só fazer o feijão com arroz para Eric Jones.
About 7 seconds between he and 3rd place Ryan Blaney, and then it's a tight battle. Ryan Blaney and Eric Jones 3rd and 4th, fairly close for those 2 positions. Kevin Harvick running in the 5th position. But again, Martin Truex Jr. continues to impress all season long. He is running up front. He's won the most stages.
Martin Truex continua forte, não está liderando hoje, mas está ali em segundo, está na briga. Impressionante esse ano.
This 77 and the 21 got past both of them and has stretched the lead to almost 4 seconds over Martin Truex.
I was going to say, that's over Martin Truex Jr. Over the 2 guys that you talked about that start in front of him, he's 11 seconds in front of them.
And the guy that we heard Kyle Busch last week say, hey, we're running well, but not as good as 78, and I don't know why. I'm just not as fast. So the 78 of Martin Truex has been their Achilles heel. So right now they're taking it to Martin Truex and his team.
On the white flag lap for stage number 2.
E vai acabar o estágio.
And once again, the 18 has swept the first 2 stages.
Mais uma vez, Kyle Busch vence os primeiros 2 estágios. O 4º piloto a fazer isto em 2017.
The guy who finished just behind him in that stage, the 78, is the only other one to go on to win. And the 78 team has done it twice. We'll see if
78 foi o único a vencer os 2 estágios e depois ainda ganhar a corrida. Não é tão fácil assim, pelo jeito, este ano. O Busch tentando vencer 3 anos seguidos as 400 milhas de Indianápolis, nunca feito antes.
Ryan Blaney's team, Eric Jones' team, they pitted early, they stayed out. Great strategy. They now are entering the end of this stage in 3rd and 4th position. Great strategy by those guys, pitting on lap 59 and lap 52.
Steve, you talked about the dominant car. And is this a situation where Kyle Busch and Adam Stevens have hit something at this racetrack? It's been different downforce. They've had different packages that have come here, but these 2 have been so good over the past now 3 years. We talked about all the laps that they've led. Have the 2 of them hit on something that is just clicking and working?
It is, and it's hard to try to figure out what it is because you mentioned there have been different rules, but then they also have teammates they're sharing the information with. So it's not just a setup. It's also maybe a driving style. I mean, Jeff, as a race car driver, and you find little nuances, little couple inches here, a couple feet here, a different way to drive your race car. I mean, surely that can help you find success year in and year out at the same racetrack.
Without a doubt. Once you've had success,
piloto faz a diferença também.
Supposed to feel like. You know what the car is supposed to be and where it's supposed to be. You have to sacrifice. Racing is a game of compromises. Where do you need to compromise? Do you need to be the best in turns 1 versus turn 3? Where are those compromises coming from? And obviously, Kyle Busch knows where they need to be and can articulate that to his team, and they're capable of getting his car the way he wants it.
And Jeff, you know, it's funny, I asked Adam Stevens about that earlier today, and he told me, you know what, we've had 3 different setups the last 3 years here at Indianapolis, and completely different setups because of all the body changes. We can't bring the same setup back. The only common factor, you mentioned it, Jeff, the guy behind the wheel. He has found repeatability at this racetrack, and he knows exactly what he's looking for in the car, and that's what we should practice.
Just to put this into perspective, most people that drive on the highway know that what it feels like to go 65 or 70 miles an hour. That's how fast they're going right now. That's pace car speed on the racetrack is 70 miles an hour. Pit road speed is 55. They have to slow down to 55 when they come to pit road. But they were moving at 70 miles an hour before they hit that yellow line. And now the field on their way to pit road. Marty.
Ryan Blaney will come down in the 3rd position. He said, the worst part for me is I'm too tight in turn 2, and that seems to be where I'm losing all of my time, especially when the 18 went around me. I could see that's where he was way better than I was. So they're going to plan on a wedge adjustment for Ryan Blaney, who's having a nice run here, trying to get win number 100 for the Wood brothers. Martin Truex Jr. says his car starts out really free, and he loses a lot of time at the initial part of the run, but it gets better. They debated on chassis change. He said no at the last minute. Leave it like it is. I think that'll make us better at the end of the run. Kyle Busch has led all but 15 laps today, guys. He said the car is, quote, pretty good right here. He said I can make it loose, I can make it tight, whatever I want to do. This time, though, I think the 78 might have beat him off pit road, Rick. Gonna be a tight
Martin Truex assume a ponta no pit. Vamos ver, será que dessa vez o Truex vai manter? Todo mundo deve ter parado nessa amarela. Nisso não devem ter mudanças aí de estratégia. Isso aí, o VT que eu peguei foi do site do LP. Se quiser, vai ali naquele endereço que consegue acesso às corridas da Nascar com os comerciais cortados. Normalmente no mesmo dia que a prova aconteceu. Em até 12 horas após a prova já está online. A Nascar coloca as corridas online sem comerciais também, mas apenas cerca de 8 dias após a prova. Muito tarde.
Well, with having such a dominant car for the first 2 stages, now 57 to go here. As you approach this stage, do you just wait and see how the cautions come out, or try to predict the plan of when you need to make your green flag pit stop?
Well, you always have to have a plan in the back of your mind, but so much depends on what everybody else does and what that gap's going to look like here if anybody can hit pit road and not go a lap down. So kind of gave up a little bit of clean air there, but it's going to be up to us to get by that 78 and see if we can get it back.
All right, well, you're coming to the green flag. We really appreciate you taking the time. I know the fans do as well, and good luck here in the last 56 laps.
All right, Steve, thanks.
Dave, what's going on with the 42 team? They've dropped all the way back to 31st.
Rick, they spent almost the entire yellow flag situation here.
Kyle Larson com problemas no nariz do carro, perdendo muitas posições. Olha ali como é que tá. Quando ele empurrou o Jimmy Johnson, o tiro saiu pela culatra. Como é importante aqui em Indianápolis ter o nariz do carro bem ajustado. Eles perderam um bom, ou gastaram um bom tempo consertando o carro nesta amarela. Foi o que disse aí agora o repórter. Lembrete quando você ficar bravo com alguém, não estoure o seu nariz se você estiver correndo aqui em Indianápolis. Kyle Larson já andou muito em pista curta, está acostumado a usar o carro para mostrar descontentamento. Aqui na Nascar nem sempre é tão bom assim. Então tá, vamos para a relargada. Volta 106 de 160. Mesmo tamanho praticamente do estágio anterior, dos dois primeiros estágios. Martin Truex consegue se firmar na ponta. O Kyle Busch segue muito próximo ali. Boa briga logo atrás. 3 carros lado a lado. Kenseth, Blaney e Harvick. Ele foi até embaixo lá para não ter que soltar o pé saindo da curva. E conseguiu aí ganhar uma posição. Blaney perdeu 2. Kenseth foi para terceiro lugar. Briga agora Logano e Bowyer. Bowyer que forçou um tri-wide para cima do Logano antes. Vamos ver se o Logano também não vai forçar o mesmo tri-wide. Parece que não. Tomou um bloqueio do Clint Bowyer também. Ou ele quis ajudar o Bowyer empurrando para ultrapassar o outro carro, que é esse aí, o 30 alguma coisa aí, uma equipe menor. Oh, au! E rodou 17 de Stenhouse e bate forte. Volta a 107, nova amarela. 8ª amarela da prova. Fim de prova por 17.
Keep talking about these restarts. We saw the shot a little while ago from AJ Allmendinger. I'm sorry, from Kurt Busch's helmet, and how difficult it is on these restarts. You just have to be aggressive. It's the time that you have to push, and when everybody's pushing, these things happen. We saw Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s incident happen on a restart.
Stenhouse Jr. climbs out of the car. You hit that inside safer barrier. Take another look.
Lado a lado com Jimmy Johnson. Stenhouse perdeu a traseira do carro. Tentou usar o que podia de pista para corrigir, mas não adiantou. E acabou batendo. Muito parecido com o que aconteceu com o David Reagan e o McMurray. E fim de prova para Stenhouse. A diferença é que agora o carro que perdeu a traseira foi o mesmo que levou a pior. Antes o McMurray ficou traseiro, quem acabou perdendo, saindo da prova, foi o David Reagan. Às vezes que você perde a traseira, perde o downforce do carro, é tarde demais para tentar recuperar. E o Ricky Stenhouse estava arriscando ali, fez uma manobra agressiva entrando na curva, então ele já estava perto, muito mais próximo do limite, forçando o pneu. Daí sim ficar carro traseira muito mais difícil de corrigir.
That is Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s first DNF here. You're watching the Brantley Gilbert Big Machine Brickyard 400. A tough ride for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. as we go NASCAR nonstop. You're watching NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Indianapolis. This telecast presented by Golden Corral. It's turned into a beautiful afternoon as we look high atop Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Our aerial coverage provided by our partners at Smithfield Foods. Coming up on Sunday night with Megan Kelly, reporter Harry Smith discovers Joe Madden, who's the manager of the World Series champion Chicago Cubs, never forgot where he came from.
Joe Madden remembers an ideal childhood in the perfect hometown.
I don't believe I
Tá, ok. Vamos pular aqui. Opa! Não tanto.
Outside, morning.
Aí.
Kyle Busch a moment ago, what do you want to do here? Do you want to do what we've done all day long, which is let each other in and play nice, as you said, Rick? Kyle said, I think we have to race for it right here. So, Jeff, you called it a moment ago. Time to go for the win in the Brickyard.
Yeah, Martin Truex Jr.
É, não é para tomar cuidado, não. Vamos ter que correr, tem que ir para cima. Falta 111, relargada. Olha aí na curva, lado a lado ainda. Kyle Busch por fora e o toque. Truex e Kyle Busch. Big One voltando na frente do pelotão. Ai, ai, ai. Conseguiu desviar ainda ali só os dois, mas os dois líderes. E isso vai abrir a porta para todo mundo mais. Uau! Que bem, conseguiu sair. O Kyle Busch não deve estar nada feliz. O Truex tinha o que perder. Ele não tinha muito o que perder. Agora o Kyle Busch. É impressionante. Opa, opa.
Well, Rick, it all started, you heard Marty's report. For most of the day, they've been allowing each other, the lead car, the control car has been...
O Kyle Busch quis ser um pouco mais agressivo. Talvez não deixe muito espaço para o Truex. Enfim. Mais uma coisa que Kyle Busch domina e não vai vencer. Olha, o Kyle Busch deixou bastante espaço. O Martin Truex que deu uma traseirada muito violenta ali. Belo trabalho do Ty Dillon no 13. Passando no mesmo lugar que Astro Neves passou quando estava desviando do Franchitti, não, do Dixon. Dando até o salto na pista. Bom trabalho de todo mundo aí, mantendo a calma. É muito fácil também acabar acontecendo um acidente entre dois pilotos que estão desviando do outro acidente. Interessante, se era para ter alguém que ia pegar fogo, era o Kyle Busch que estourou o para-choque no muro. É lá que fica o tanque de combustível e não o Martin Truex. Só que junto ao tanque de combustível também já tem um extintor de incêndio. Caso amasse um, já amassa o outro também. É uma bela medida de segurança que a Nascar fez. É, quem é que vai brigar pela vitória agora? Olha essa imagem. O Truex já tirando tudo do carro. Um dos problemas quando está tirando, ao tirar o cinto de segurança, se você ainda está em movimento, tem que cuidar para não bater. Pode ser muito pior. Você pode bater e ficar inconsciente dentro do carro em chamas. É. Provavelmente estourou o cano de combustível ou de óleo. Está jogando. Ah, e aí a fumaça toda que saiu é o extintor de incêndio automático que tem dentro do carro. Só tem que apertar um botão no volante. O mais difícil é respirar. Por mais que não esteja pegando fogo, toda a fumaça ali em volta. O fogo tira o oxigênio e a fumaça que vem não é nada boa de se respirar. Muito tóxica.
So now the conversation starts, right? Why are we racing? You know, now that conversation, because remember, you have Joe Gibbs racing that, you know, helps the 78. They work together in some sorts. Why were we racing at each other that hard? Why were we doing that? We had the two fastest cars. Well, because the two fastest cars, they both want to win. And you cannot sit around and wait for the right time. You have to take that opportunity. You never know when the winning moment's going to come, Steve. And right now, on this restart with 48 to go, you've got to go try to take that lead.
Jeff, you're exactly right. Let's listen in. It's time now for today's Fresh Take, brought to you by Subway. We're going to listen in to both the 18 radio and the 78 radio prior to that restart about how important it was that they wanted to get out front.
I think we need to race him. You on board with that, Adam? He's driving, man. Absolutely. All righty, 10-4.
That was the 18.
We'll do whatever. Take the bottom if we want to. Okie dokie. It's fine all day when it was the other way, I guess. Yep, copy that. Is that the plan for sure? Copy that.
It doesn't sound like Martin Truex Jr. wanted to go on with that plan. He felt that the plan previously had been working.
Well, it's the same story. Martin Truex Jr. feels like there have been multiple restarts where he did not contest the position. So you said it, Jeff. At some point, playing nice has to go out the window. From that radio, it seems that Kyle Busch's opinion of when that should happen and Martin Truex Jr.'s opinion of when that should happen were definitely different.
And it will always be different, right? And somebody's got to say, somebody's got to get to the point and say, look, it's time. And when this happens, now, like I said before we heard these radio broadcasts, that now you're going to start questioning it. Like, why were we doing that? But, you know, when you are a race car driver and you're a crew chief and you say, okay, now it's time to push that button. Now it's time to try to make more happen. If it doesn't work out, it's easy to point the fingers at you. But that's what winners do. Winners step up at big moments. And by the way, winners can't be afraid to fail. Winners have to be willing to take that risk in order to seize a race.
You use the word winners twice there. One driver who is not a winner in 2017 is Kyle Busch. Looking to make it 3 in a row here at the Brickyard 400. That's not going to happen. He has been checked and released from the infield care center. Kyle Busch has 2 winless tracks. One of them is Charlotte. The other track is the one we go to next week, Pocono. Kyle Busch has never won it.
Kyle Busch só não venceu em 2 provas, em 2 pistas, uma é Charlotte, a outra Pocono. E é a que a gente vai semana que vem.
Tuning in now to NBC after the race, it will be Sunday night with Megan Kelly.
Esse é um feito incrível para o Kyle Busch, que ele não tem muitas vitórias assim, comparado com, por exemplo, Jimmy Jones e Jeff Gordon, e já estão falando, só não venceu na pista tal e tal. Normalmente quando isso acontece já tem muito mais vitórias.
I guess could have continued to play the teammate game and tried to settle it on a green flag pit stop, but if he would be that much faster than me and yard me by 3 seconds in a run with the clean air, then I'd never have an opportunity to be able to pass him back, even if we had a stellar pit stop. So that's the way it goes. Just chalk it up as another one that we figure out how to lose these things by, and it's very, very frustrating. And I hate it for my guys. They build such fast Toyota Camrys, and this Skittles Camry was really good again today, and had one to go out there and put ourselves in the record books for 3 in a row, but not happening.
From your perspective, Martin just got loose underneath you, or what happened?
I would guess. I don't know. I just was on his outside and got hit, got blindsided into the fence, so I would imagine that's what it was.
You've got to start wondering, and you just mentioned a moment ago, what this team has to do to win races in 2017. Clearly, you had the best car today.
Yes.
All right, Kyle. With a good perspective, though, and there's the wreck, and obviously very disappointed. He certainly did have the fastest car today and was the car to beat here this afternoon, but out of it early, Rick, surprisingly.
And Kyle Busch has always been one who's had to maybe check his emotions when he talks after a race, when he gets wrecked out or if something happens in a race. And you could hear the frustration. Obviously, he knew he had the best car in this field, but he mentioned the comment that would the race come down to a green flag pit stop, and that definitely could have been what happened.
You can't give up track position. You cannot give it up. I'm never going to get mad at 2 drivers for racing for a win. That was just hard racing, plain and simple.
78 got loose on the inside, and
olha só que imagem.
In flames.
O que vai acontecer agora, hein? Ainda tem.
I mean, you just can't.
35, 40 voltas.
NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast. Toyota. Let's go places. And by Golden Corral. Your choice rules. You're watching Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Indianapolis. Let's go to Marty.
Martin Truex Jr. out of the infield care center. I want to get your perspective on what happened on that restart and that wreck.
I just got loose and wrecked him. I mean, it was totally my fault. You know, didn't really know what to expect in that position. You know, didn't really realize he was going to drive in that deep and suck me around. So, you know, I got to take the blame for that one. Obviously, it was my fault. So, hate it for Kyle. He had a great car. We did as well. But you know, that's racing. So, glad I was able to get out. The fire was bad, and you know, had no brakes. Had to run into the wall a second time just to try to get the thing stopped so I could get out. So, fortunately, I'm okay, and you know, we'll live to race another day.
We're certainly glad you're okay. But Kyle had said at that point, and I think you had agreed too, 49 to go. Any other choice than to race each other, because you guys have been playing nice on restarts all day long.
Yeah, we worked well together, and you know, that's the hard part about this stuff is when it's time to go, and I feel awful. I just made a mistake, so definitely should have picked the outside, and you know, all would have been fine, I guess. But you know, it's just the way it goes, man. Hate it for auto owners, everybody involved, everybody at Furniture Row. We had an awesome car today, and you know, we got out front. You know, I don't think they were going to be able to beat us, but you know, mistake on my part took us out of it. So we'll get them next week. Rick.
Very unfortunate. Martin Truex Jr. owning up to it. Got loose, and he caught the 18, and they both went into the wall. It's been a tough year for Kyle Busch. All the way back to Phoenix, where he was leading the race, and the 22 brought out the caution, and it ended up not ending well.
Kyle Busch liderando em Phoenix quando saiu a amarela. Talladega perto do final, ultrapassada pelo Stenhouse. Charlotte estava liderando, perdeu na economia de combustível. Dover, problema nos pits. Aí foi no início da prova, igual ele estava forte.
That was when the wheel came off at Dover.
Sorry, right after that race, go to
Pocono.
Pocono, leading the race, decides to stay out. Pretty much the entire field.
Ainda tem a corrida de Richmond, que ele estava em segundo e acertou o cone. Lá no dois pênaltis por excesso de velocidade.
And we saw what just happened here at Indianapolis. Once again, the best car in the field, but he will have to race another day to try to get to victory lane. We have some new players up front. It has been all the 18 and the 78 up till this point. Those two no longer are in front of the field, so now you have Matt Kenseth, who has just found out that he's not going to have a ride for 2018, or doesn't know exactly what ride he will have, looking for a win to secure a spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Harvick, Ford hasn't won here since 1999. Now we need to pay attention right here to make sure no one else comes
Harvick, o número 4 ou Harvick não vence aqui desde 99, acho que é o 4, porque o Harvick entrou, ele começou a correr em 2001.
As we were saying in those front six, those new players, Kenseth and Harvick, and think about Blaney, the rookie. Well, excuse me, the sophomore driver, I guess technically. He feels like a rookie, even though this would be his second season, because it was the year he finally broke through and went to victory lane. And ever since that win, Jeff, he's been up front again today. Just like Kevin Harvick carrying that blue oval, he could take Ford to victory lane at the Brickyard.
And the outside of him is Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin won last week, but he's never won a Brickyard 400. And then Eric Jones. He has never won a cup race, needs a cup win, needs a win this year, most likely as far back as they are in points if they're going to move their way into the playoffs.
And beside him, Brad Keselowski. We have documented how Roger Penske has so many wins. He actually has on display the helmets of all of the winners. When you walk into his race shop, 16 Indy 500 winners, but no Brickyard 400 wins. So Brad Keselowski, the best of the Penske duo that's currently running.
Vários pilotos aí, mesmo que nunca venceram a Nascar, também querem vencer em Indianápolis. Essa é uma prova muito especial. Então a briga deve ser bem grande agora.
It's like a whole new list. Those other two cars, the 18 of Kyle Busch, the 78 of Martin Truex Jr., were so dominant, we had to go through those front 6 cars because they have been the other half. They have been the 3rd through 8th place cars all day long.
Who's going to grab it? The 2 best cars are gone. Which one of these drivers, which one of these teams, who is going to grab this opportunity and leave with a Brickyard 400 trophy?
The top 15 all came to pit road on lap 102.
Primeiros 15 pararam na volta 102. 16º para trás já é outra história. Mais combustível, mais pneu, nem todo mundo fazendo a mesma coisa, mas 16 na frente com pneus mais velhos. Relargada na volta 120. 40 para o final. Harvick e Kenseth dos 2 primeiros. Ainda lado a lado, tentando fechar a porta. Harvick, Kenseth tentando se manter ali. Muito forte a briga. Caramba, e consegue a ultrapassagem, Matt Kenseth. Harvick pode perder mais de uma posição. Não, se mantém em segundo. Kenseth para a ponta. Lá no Run Fantasy, se for em um tweet e eles aleatoriamente escolhem um piloto, peguei o Matt Kenseth. Posso estar com sorte hoje. A última vez foi o Chris Buescher. Não foi lá a melhor coisa.
Steve, I mentioned lap 102 was the last time that these cars were on pit road. They have run 120 laps now, so that's 18 laps since pit road.
Bloqueando ali até a grama. Mark Murray e Kurt Busch. É o Mark Murray ali. Carro à frente azul é diferente. Mark Murray sempre com o carro mais vermelho.
Take a short splash of fuel in 2 tires, or do you pit a little earlier, put 4 fresh tires, and give those fresh tires a chance to work on the racetrack, making time up? They're concerned if it goes green. Don't look now, but Kyle Larson all the way back in 15th. I think he can make it from here on fuel. So this is a track we've seen some.
Cuidado, Kyle Larson, 15º, pode chegar até o final pro combustível. Se a gente não tiver outra amarela, mas do jeito que tá, devemos ter. Ali a volta que cada um parou a última vez. Muita diferença. Kyle Larson em 15º e subindo. Já foi para 13º. Ganha 2 posições ali.
How hard do you push the guys in front of you to make sure that they use as much fuel as they can?
I don't think that's a factor. They're going to have to pit. All those guys are going to have to pit regardless. Your key.
Parece que todo mundo ali na frente vai ter que parar. Tem que ficar na frente do Trevor Bayne. Todos os outros na frente vão ter que parar. Isso sem seguir em bandeira verde, né? 38 voltas pro final.
And the way that strategy works is if there's not a caution.
There's not a caution, and you get a little lucky because even 45 laps is a long way. It's a long fuel run here at the 2.5-mile rectangle.
Let's get a few updates with 38 to go. We start with Dave.
And the 20-car Matt Kenseth is now out front. His crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe, told me this morning the toughest part about this race is that the guy who has the inside line just takes it and stays there. Well, guess what? That was his teammate and the 78 earlier. Now it was Matt Kenseth, and he took it from the 4 of Kevin Harvick. As for Harvick, talking to morning with his crew chief, Rodney Childers. Rodney told me we may not be the fastest car, but if we're in the right position at the right time, we feel like we can win this race if we can avoid mistakes as well. They've done it so far, Marty, and they run second.
Dave, how about this rally for Denny Hamlin and his race team? Now with a shot to win the Brickyard 400 after having that damage early in the race. You see the FedEx Cares Toyota, there's a little bit of tape on that front nose. It has held together. It's been fine, and we're going to see if they're going to pit when a lot of other people pit. Remember he won New Hampshire last week? Coolest text he got? Michael Jordan. He told us that on NASCAR America earlier this week. Behind him, Ryan Blaney. He's already put the Wood brothers into the playoffs for the first time ever. They're talking a lot about fuel strategy. They said their window opens in one more lap. Don't be surprised that 21 comes down pit road soon, Kelly.
The rookie Eric Jones hanging on to a top 5 position. His crew chief telling me the weekend's gone better than he expected, especially considering Eric is a rookie in the Cup car here at Indy. But it helps that he's has a mentor in Kyle Busch. He talked to Kyle Friday before they got started. He's been looking at his data traces. It's helped him hold on to a good position here at Indy today. Behind him, you'll see the 14 of Clint Boyer. Clint came in and would have the last spot in the playoffs based on points. And his crew chief, Mike Bugaravich, told me that's the worst position to be in because we don't really want to take a big risk and end up throwing away points. But on the other hand, if you take a risk, you could end up with a win and a guaranteed spot. He said it's a really tough position. Their aim is for a single-digit finish. They're in position to do that today. And behind him, the one of Jamie McMurray in a similar position, trying to hang on to a spot based on points to get into the playoffs. But his crew chief, Matt McCall, told me he expects there to be 14 to 16 different winners this season, so they've got to be one of them, Dave.
Quite a discussion with the True Group about whether or not to pit. Brad really wanted to pit. Paul Wolf, his crew chief, told him repeatedly, if I'd wanted you to pit, I'd have called you in. They stayed out. Hope their strategy works out. Behind them, the 41 of Kurt Busch. The car has run pretty well today. Right now, they feel like it's just a little bit on the loose side through the corners. Marty?
Joey Logano back there in the 10th position right now, Dave, and they have had a fantastic day on pit road until the last stop. They had a lug nut stick in the right front in the air gun, so they had to get that fixed. He fell all the way back to 19th. He's been rallying back to get that track position. Todd Gordon told me they've made a good step in terms of direction on speed this weekend, hoping it plays off for the playoffs if they make it, Rick.
That's the big question, if they make the playoffs. They right now, as far as points go, they are outside the top 16. It may be a must-win situation for Joey Logano over the last few races before the playoffs get to start.
Daqui a pouco o Joey Logano vai ficar obrigado a vencer se ele quiser chegar no Chase.
0.4 of a second separating those two up front. They have separated themselves by over a second and a half from third place Denny Hamlin.
Well, now these two drivers know that both of them have to come to pit road one more time, Rick. So obviously Kevin Harvick wants to pass Matt Kenseth. That's without a doubt the goal. But his second goal needs to be, if he can't pass him, just to stay close enough that perhaps you could come to pit road one lap early, get a little fresh tires. So the cat and mouse games, Rick, they've started here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
And how important it will be to have a great pit stop as we go NASCAR nonstop.
Mais comercial. Kenseth segue liderando com Kevin Harvick em segundo. 32 voltas para o final.
Long live the fearless, and long live the trucks that push you further. Ram, America's longest-lasting pickups.
Now get an average $11,468 in total values on the 2017 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab with a Hemi V8 engine.
For generations, you've celebrated the holidays with Smithfield and our hand-trimmed, slow-smoked hams. It's a flavor so genuine, we could only do one thing: cut it. Introducing Smithfield Anytime Favorites, the legendary taste you crave, sliced and diced to satisfy your craving anytime. Flavor hails from Smithfield.
At Coors, cold counts. That's why we lager, filter, and package cold for a cleaner, crisper taste. Because our mountain is brewing the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Light. Whatever your mountain, climb on.
People know me as Dale Earnhardt Jr. race car driver, but I have many sides. When I retire, I'll be Golden Years Dale. I'll catch a big fish. Climb big mountains. I'll surf some really big waves.
And you'll run some big errands because we're out of mayo.
Mayo. Got it. Going for that mayo. For planning your retirement and more, Nationwide is on your side.
This summer, a Wendy's Frosty is just 50 cents.
So feel free to freak out, because now's the best time to indulge a little. Or a lot. Do you. The 50-cent Frosty. Available for a limited time at Wendy's.
Every lap timed to 100th of a second. Every gallon measured down to the last drop. Every tire holding till its last tread. Each moment building with pressure. But no matter the precision put into a car or a race, the path to victory is through total chaos.
Unbelievable.
Back at Indianapolis, green flag. The final stops of the day.
Começa os pitstops de bandeira verde.
Ryan Blaney is on pit road. He was running third, so the car was pretty good right there, but it was much better in traffic, or actually a little bit worse in traffic. They're going to put the wedge back where it was, put some tape on the grill, make an air pressure adjustment. Joey Logano right in front of him. He leaves with 4 fresh Goodyear tires. That might bring everybody else down pit road with these Team Penske cars pitting now.
Well, we talked about the cat and mouse
Dois
game.
carros a Penske parando juntos.
Full-blown chess at this point, Rick, because the leaders, Kenseth and Harvick, they're running at full speed, thinking they're going to need a yellow. With 21 of Ryan Blaney, he set the gauntlet that says, nope, I don't think we're going to get one. I'm going to come to pit road, and he's drugged these other cars with him, Kelly.
And you see that's the 14 there of Clint Boyer, who said that his car was just getting way too loose. They told him to pit immediately. It's going to be 4 Goodyear tires for Clint Boyer, Marty.
Denny Hamlin on pit road said the car was a little bit free. He said he wanted a fresh water bottle, and that was about it for this final run. 4 fresh Goodyear tires, just an air pressure adjustment to tighten up a little bit. Quick stop by the 11.
Só pouquinho mais dianteiro que era o Denny Hamlin. Ajuste de pressão dos pneus.
These cars pitting early in the run does 2 things. It gets some tires early. Kenseth on pit road.
It pulls the race leader, Matt Kenseth, onto pit road, as well as Kevin Harvick. Dave.
Rick, Matt Kenseth was very careful to tell his crew chief very specifically what the car was doing over the course of the run. First, we'll see Kevin Harvick stop here. Harvick, the biggest thing that he wanted in the race car was a clean windshield. They'll tear a piece off of the windshield to make sure that Kevin can see down to the end. There it goes. As for Kenseth, now an air pressure change for his race car. Right side Goodyear tires on, left side's going on, and a full fill of Sunoco fuel. As they leave pit road, will Kenseth stay ahead of the 4? Yes, he will.
Similar pit stops for the 20 and the 4. They'll have enough fuel to get to the end. The fresh tires, how big of an effect will that be?
Well, it'll be a huge effect. And while we saw the 4 of Kevin Harvick on pit road, there is Matt Kenseth right there using the blend lane. So you have to use the blend lane in the corners 1 and 2. You can swing as wide as you want in the short chute. So Matt Kenseth doing a nice job there, blending in front of Denny Hamlin. So he'll keep that track position. That new tire did not help the 11 enough. Kelly.
And there's the 1 car of Jamie McMurray. At times his race car's been too loose. At times it's been a little bit too tight. You see it's going to be a 4 tires McMurray and Sunoco fuel. Meanwhile, the rookie Eric Jones is also in the pits. He's had some issues getting a clean entrance into pit lane. They've been working on that with them 4 tires for the 77, Marty.
Ryan Newman coming down pit road, just creeped into the top 10 towards the end of that run. Said he's been dealing with a tight condition for much of the day. The one thing he really needed was a clean windshield. They pulled that tear off. 4 fresh Goodyear tires from the 31 team. Already in the playoffs with a win earlier this year at Phoenix.
Newman coming off pit road.
Pitstops acontecendo.
Pit stop cycling for those that didn't come under that last caution.
Well, and surprisingly, Rick, I had the 42 as a car that was going to gamble. But I was wrong. The 42 came to pit road. They must have thought that 45 was just way outside their window. They could not do it. So
E o Larson não foi até o fim. Já parou.
All must making pit stops. They came at lap 102. The real question mark, the car I thought the 42 had to outrun, the 6 of Trevor Bayne. In the 4th position, he came at lap 117. That's a 43-lap run. When you look at the playoff grid, Trevor Bayne down at 20th. We talked at the top of the show, Jeff, who's going to take the gamble? Who's going to take the risk? Right now, it looks like Trevor Bayne might be setting himself up for that choice.
And that is the risk right now. It's about a 30-second lead over Matt Kenseth, 28-second lead. But with new tires, we've seen new tires mean a great deal. Trevor Bayne just ran a 51.70. Kenseth ran a 49.67, so much faster. And remember, if Trevor Bayne has to save a little fuel, he's going to have to go slower. He cannot run full speed.
At some point in time, it will level off. That was 2 seconds difference. Those fresh tires, it will level off. But still, 25 laps to go. Can they catch him?
I think they are going to be right on his rear bumper with 25 laps. I think they're going to make it very hard to have Trevor Bayne save fuel. The question now is, why is Brad Keselowski on the racetrack? Why is Jimmy Johnson? We know they have to stop. Well, there, as Jimmy Johnson gets squeezed a little 3 wide right here by Ryan Newman, who's going to try to unlap himself. Remember, Ryan Newman came to pit road but lost a lap to the 2 of Brad Keselowski. Well, these cars are staying on the racetrack because, Rick, they can't win any other way. So they're hoping that we run maybe 15 laps and then a caution comes out. They feel all these cars like Ryan Newman that have pitted, they're going to have to come get fresh tires as well. Well, they're the leader. They should come on pit road and off pit road. So multiple different strategies here playing out at the end of the
Muitas estratégias diferentes.
continues to push Brad Keselowski trying to get that lap back.
How about the possibility of Trevor Bayne winning the Brickyard 400? Trevor Bayne won the biggest race in stock car racing. He won the Daytona 500 with the Wood Brothers team, and now the possibility exists he could win the Brickyard 400. Parker.
Guys, the 3 of Austin Dillon just came on the pit road, did 4 tires and fuel and a small air pressure adjustment. Just been fighting loose in and tight off, but a solid run for the 3 car here, guys.
Austin Dillon in the 3 coming off of pit road.
Que alta essa parada.
Race leader Brad Keselowski stays out on the track.
Keselowski segue na pista, liderando agora. Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, os 3 primeiros.
There's no way they can stretch it 58 laps on fuel. And so the strategy games begin.
Right, so these 3 cars, Keselowski, the 48-5, there, as we said, they all have to come to pit road. Trevor Bayne, you mentioned it, 1 win on the resume. Oh yeah, the Daytona 500, the biggest race of the year. Could he win the 2nd biggest, another marquee event? And right now, Matt Fuchsia has done a great job as his crew chief looking outside the box. What chance does he have, Dave?
Hey guys, they've done what they can do fuel-wise now for Trevor. One thing they didn't do was repair that race car. Remember, he was the 2nd car involved when Junior crashed out of the race. Junior ran into the back end of him, and they pushed a little bit of that right rear fender out, almost creating sort of a wicker on the 6th car. Matt Fuchsia told me, hey, it might even handle better than it was before.
And that's really the goal. Maybe it'll handle better. But now, Jeff, 22 seconds in 22 laps. What does 22 seconds look like at Indianapolis Motor Speedway? There goes Trevor Bayne. Exiting turn 2 to go down the backstretch. He's
22 voltas pro final. Será que a gente vai ficar em bandeira verde até o final, hein?
Until we see who we feel has the best chance of catching Trevor Bayne, which is Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, so Trevor Bayne ran a 52.29, and Matt Kenseth ran a 50.42. So almost 2 seconds a lap faster is Matt Kenseth.
And there's Kenseth just coming off at 2.
We know he's in 12th place. Okay, we understand that. But when Keselowski pits and Johnson pits and Kane pits, Trevor Bayne will be the leader. If there's no more cautions, then Matt Kenseth's got to go through Michael McDowell, who pitted. He's got to go through Eric Almirola, who pitted. He's got to go through Ty Dillon, Danica Patrick, Paul Menard, Chris Buescher, Matt DiBenedetto. He's got to go through all those guys. They pitted on lap 118. So that's going to slow Matt Kenseth's progress up a little bit.
Again, Keselowski, Johnson, and Kane, the top 3. Kurt Busch running in the 22nd position. Trevor Bayne trying to get his 2nd Monster Energy Cup Series win. Coming at maybe the most famous racetrack in the entire world, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Want to go back to the lap 111 restart with Kurt Busch, and let's listen in on spotter communications. He had a very interesting perspective on this restart.
4 Kurt Busch na relargada? Vamos ver.
That was spotter coverage presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less. Look at the reaction out of Kurt.
I don't blame him. He was entering that corner 3 wide in the middle and still found a way to miss that wreck. Impressive driving and impressive spotting.
So Keselowski, Johnson, and Kane still out on the track. It has been 39 laps since they were on pit road. They're getting close to running out of fuel as we go NASCAR non-stop.
NASCAR non-stop agora.
We don't even have a dress.
You're not going anywhere in those rags.
Together and what have you got? Cindy? Introducing an all-new crossover, Toyota CHR. Toyota, let's go places.
I came here to be better. Now, I stand here a challenger. To be questioned, to turn heads, and to be the last person anyone wants to see in the rearview mirror. I came here to race.
So your new prescription does have a few side effects.
Oh, like what?
You're gonna have dizziness, nausea, and sweaty eyelids, and in severe cases, chronic flatulence.
No.
So gassy, girl. So gassy.
If you're boys to men, you make anything sound good. It's what you do. If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico. It's what you do.
Next.
Next.
I'm not playing with you. I can bend a little bit. I can play a little bit. I'm here for you. I can see a little bit. I can see a little bit of you. I got a hold on you. You got a hold on me.
My name.
I got a
Alex?
hold on you.
Mine too.
I got a new swimsuit with glitter and fringes, and I got a case of the too many Benjamins.
If you're not a race fan and I send you to Bristol, you're gonna be a race fan when you leave.
The most popular track on the circuit
Let me tell you, don't count that 88 out. He's pretty darn good.
says goodbye to NASCAR's most popular driver.
Hell yeah!
The Bass Pro Shops NRA Night Race, August 19th. Your last chance to see Junior run the night race.
Man, this is one of the biggest wins of my career.
Why is that?
It's Bristol, baby!
Welcome to Budapest. In the heat of battle, only the strong survive. That's life at the speed of Formula One. The Hungarian Grand Prix, next Sunday on NBCSN.
Voltando. Agora sim. Não, mais.
And that was before now. You're watching NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Indianapolis. Telecast presented by Golden Corral. Brad Keselowski is out front, but he will run out of fuel within the next few laps if they don't come to pit
Se
road.
não for pro pit, vai acabar a gasolina logo.
With the only possibility being if a caution would come out. Behind him is Trevor Bayne. Bayne has enough fuel. He thinks if he can stretch the fuel, he can get to victory lane once again for his second win in the Monster Energy Cup Series, Dave.
And Rick, a couple things things they're telling him. First of all, they need him to save at the 50% rate. You guys can help me out with that, what that typically means for a driver. But the other thing is, Matt Puccia, the crew chief, told him, I need you to run in the 51s. He's got to be fast enough to stay ahead of Matt Kenseth, who's been one of the fastest cars all day.
So there's two races in Trevor Bayne's mind right now. The first race is making it to the finish on fuel. 43 laps is a long ways. We saw cars go longer earlier, but they had yellows. But this is another issue. You saw it was over 20 seconds. Now, with 14 to go, down to 11 seconds. Matt Kenseth, a champion at the Cup level, looking for a ride for next year, trying to get back to victory lane at an iconic race.
O pessoal que já parou tá voltando bem rápido também.
Let's listen into the 20 radio.
The top three, it's going to be a huge stretch for those guys to make it. I think the first guy that can legitimately make it is the 6 car running fourth.
Já tô falando pro Kenseth que ele tem que tentar passar o Trevor Bayne.
That's 100% correct. There's just no way they can go from lap 102 to make it to the end. I don't believe anybody thinks they can. So Trevor Bayne pitted on lap 117. The top three pitted on lap 102. So Trevor Bayne, right now, that you heard that 50% mark. All the teams have fuel-saving modes. They tell the driver, okay, look, here's how you have to save fuel. You have to save 50% fuel. It have to be in 75% mode, 100% mode. They've told him 50%. So what we don't know is they're giving him intervals. He knows how far ahead he is of Matt Kenseth. What we don't know is with, say, 5 to go, how much speed does he have left? Because he may have been trying to save fuel this entire time, running slower than he actually has to have to make sure he can make it.
Quanta gasolina cada tem aí?
He may turn him loose. He may turn himself loose. The team never knows 100% what the driver is doing. The driver sometimes plays his own game with the information given to him, and we don't know which game he's playing. I have a feeling he can go a little faster than he's going right now.
Well, and there are why we're talking about Trevor Bayne, because he's going to be for the win. There are some other cars inside the top 15 that are playing the same strategy. We have Eric Almirola, who is back from a back injury, running in the 7th position. He could run inside the top 10. We have Ty Dillon. We have Danica Patrick currently in 12, so there's a lot of race cars, as you see. Matt Kenseth, thank you, Rick, pointed that out, passing Michael McDowell on the racetrack. So some players that we probably would have been hard-pressed to say contended for top 5s with this fuel strategy will be able to.
So Matt Kenseth has not gained any ground on the last 3 laps. He's been going through cars. He's been having to pass people. The last 3 laps, he was 11 seconds back, and he's still 11 seconds back. We see.
Não tá conseguindo alcançar o Matt Kenseth. Continua 11 segundos atrás. 12 segundos é muita coisa. Só se o Trevor Bayne começar a ficar sem combustível. E a batida? Batida forte. Clint Bowyer e Kurt Busch. Wow. Tinha que conseguir sair do muro aí. Claustrofóbico o lugar. Talvez dá pra sair pelo outro lado. Acho que estourou a suspensão. Não tem como tirar o carro de perto do muro. Ainda bem que não tá pegando fogo que nem o Martin Truex. Ainda dá, por sorte. O perigo de fogo é sempre grande.
They didn't think they were in a position to win the race, so they tried something different, staying out as long as they could to try to get fresh tires. Well, oh wow, Jamie McMurray, the one.
McMurray também com problema. E a gente vai largar ainda com muitas voltas para ter mais problema depois. Ali, uau! Tocou com o 77 do Eric Jones.
Around the 14th position.
Uau, por sorte não pegou ali a entrada do muro do pit. Eu quero ver a câmera do 41 do Kurt Busch.
There's a car in front of Clint that got loose, but that saved it, and that's what drew my attention away from Clint Bowyer. But if you look right behind that car, that's where the 14 actually loses control.
Batida forte.
Paul Menard that got loose. Wow.
That was Kurt Busch would have avoided this, but the 14 came up. Let's ride along with Kurt Busch on the helmet cam.
Mais uma vez.
Bush on the helmet cam.
Uau.
Seen that too many times, Rick.
Voltando aqui.
As real as it gets. Big impact.
Reiniciei o vídeo para garantir
Back across the racetrack.
não ficar um vídeo com tamanho gigante. Podemos treinar bastante coisa pela frente.
Another awkward impact as we see the red flag now being displayed, Rick.
A lot of cleanup's going to have to take place here.
Bandeira vermelha. Wow.
So violent.
Cars going that fast, how they just rebound back into the racetrack. You see Kurt Busch coming out of that car. That's hard impact.
This shot right here, Rick. And what surprises me there, Jeff, so explain to me, I hear him lift, but then get back in the gas. So I know he obviously doesn't want to drive into the accident. As a driver, you get back into the gas because you're trying to get by the spinning car.
That's right. Many times to miss a wreck, if you slow down, you get in the wreck. So you have to make a calculated guess, and he thought his best opportunity was to keep his speed up. Remember, he saw Clint Boyer going to the left.
Right.
He had no way of knowing Clint Boyer was going to rebound and come back across the racetrack. He was just trying to get by as quickly as he could. Once Clint Boyer rebounded, well then, you know, it was just nothing he could do. There was no way that he could anticipate Clint coming back across the racetrack like that. But that's how quick it happens. I mean, that shot right there. When I try to explain to people what driving a race car is like, that's it. What would he have done different? People want to second guess drivers when they get in a wreck.
Você já sabe que vai ter um acidente, daí é fácil saber o que fazer para desviar. Agora você está numa corrida de 3 horas e meia e de repente acontece algo, é muito rápido para reagir.
When a wreck is happening in front of us, we don't watch the car wrecking. We don't look where that car is going. We're trying to find the hole. And you see his eyes right there. He's looking into that hole that he saw.
Parecia que ia dar para passar.
Closed up. But that's what you do as a race car driver when the wreck is happening to you. You know this. You look for that opportunity to get away from the wreck, and that's why he was getting to the throttle trying to shoot that gap.
And you make that decision in a split second, in less than a second. You have to commit, and you have to make that decision and go do it. And if you hesitate, more times than not, you get in the wreck.
So a lot of cleanup taking place on the exit of turn 4 on the front stretch, and so the red flag has been displayed. They will stop the cars with 10 laps to go.
10 voltas para o final, bandeira vermelha.
So we talked about this. We see the 14 behind the 27, but this bright yellow 27, Jeff, look at the slide he makes off turn 4. I don't know if it's just coincidence, but it's a huge correction right here. And I don't know if that does something to the 14. I mean, the 14 looks like he was in a slide himself, so I'm not sure if they had anything to do with one another, but it was definitely coincidental for sure that they were both sideways at the same time.
Well, one thing we do know with this low downforce package is the more cars that are around each other, the worse they drive. And so you have less downforce.
O pacote de menos downforce está fazendo suas vítimas hoje.
Four cars and just one little group right there. Those cars, none of those cars are driving very good.
Such damage to the 14 of Clint Boyer's car.
So remember, getting back to the race, I mean, that's got me, after riding along with Kurt Busch, I feel like I was driving that race car, but getting back to this race, remember we saw Casey Kane hit pit road, and then the caution came out immediately. He stayed in the lead lap. So if everybody in front of him believes tires are more important than track position, Casey Kane could come out and be in the best position to win this race.
Casey Kane parou no pit, trocou os pneus e saiu amarelo e não perdeu volta. É um dos melhores colocados aí, que está com um pneu bem novo.
Matt Kenseth and Casey Kane, but if enough of those people pit, Casey Kane could be in the catbird seat.
Well, I mean, if you go down, we know Keselowski and Johnson are coming to pit road. They need fuel and tires. But then it is just such a mixed bag behind them of laps on tires. Trevor Bayne is close on fuel and has some old tires. Kenseth has newer tires, but man, he still has 18 laps on him, and he was running fast laps trying to run down the 6 of Trevor Bayne. So you know, I think that Casey Kane, I would be surprised if anyone in front of Casey Kane stayed out. I think the 5 of Casey Kane is getting ready to start this race on the front row. I think everyone is going to be forced to pit. And I think some guys are going to gamble perhaps on 2 tires, which is only going to make Casey Kane's case better. That those other cars he'll start in front of will be on older left side tires.
And many of these people's situation and where they are in points and trying to make the playoffs will determine whether they pit or not. So some of these guys have nothing to lose by staying out. And by the way, some of these guys have nothing to lose by pitting. So remember, the end goal is to try to get into the
alguns aí não
playoffs.
tem nada a
Obviously,
perder
the best way to
ficando
do
na
that is
pista
win
e
this
outros
race.
não tem nada a perder parando
These
para trocar
strategies will be
pneus.
based on what gives them the best chance to win the race and also what gives them the best chance to make the playoffs.
We're looking at Tony Stewart coming off the pit box, team owner for the 14 team for Clint Boyer. Want to listen into the radio communication from the 48 team of Jimmy Johnson. We had mentioned that he and
Rádio
Brad
do
Keselowski
Jimmy Johnson.
were going to have to either run out of gas or have a caution happen. Well, it did happen. Here's the communications.
Save fuel. Save all the fuel you can. We are critical save here. Critical.
And that's not critical to make the end of the race. That's critical to get back to pit road. That was Chad Canales being very adamant. Obviously, they had this terminology worked out. He knows what critical means, or Jimmy Johnson knows what critical means. That's a whole nother level of fuel savings because, you know, it's great to have this track position, and they got the yellow they need, but if this 48 doesn't refire and make it to pit road, then they're going to lose that track position.
So right now they're sitting on the back straightaway. So what they're hoping for is that when it goes back caution, that NASCAR immediately opens pit road. If NASCAR has to go around another lap, that's another lap under caution that the 48 is going to have to go.
Tá do limite, Jimmy Johnson. Não pode fazer mais nenhuma volta em amarela, parece. Torcer para que o pit abre assim que eles voltarem da bandeira vermelha.
Yeah, he was getting crowded pretty hard, 2-3, and then in 4, and you know they got together and then parked in front of us, and he just kind of had to make an evasive move. I knew the 77 had to run on me there, and all hell broke loose. It was a pretty hard hit. Felt like hard, and then somebody hit me again. I don't know when, but or I thought they did. Felt like they did. Pretty much sucks.
Well, yeah, and big picture-wise, I know this is not what you want when you're trying to hang on to that final playoff spot.
Yeah, no, it was definitely not needed for sure, but we'll regroup. This is a strong team. Proud of the 14 bunch, proud of their effort. You know, we was a little bit off in practices and things like that, qualifying, and found a way to make it better for the race, and was, you know, I think we're going to have a single-digit finish for sure, but just wasn't our day.
Thanks, Clint.
Thanks for Mobile and Rush. Everybody come on board for Indy. Thanks.
Bem murcho, Clint Boyer.
Upbeat, energetic, enthusiastic Clint Boyer, obviously dejected after that wreck.
Well, I mean, you know, Kelly brought it up. The playoff situation, that 14 is now down near that cut line of 16th in points. Joey Logano just below it. Matt Kenseth is above the 14 now as they currently run on the racetrack. So, you know, we saw the 24 of Chase Elliott have an engine failure early. He hasn't even really been in conversation. Everyone thought he was good in the points. So, you know, with 7 races, very unique races left between now and the end of the regular season, this is starting to really, really tighten it all up.
All right, Steve, Jeff, to win this race, I'll take the first 2, and I'll tell you that Keselowski and Johnson will come to pit road. Who else comes to pit road, and what strategy wins this race?
Pit road. Come to pit road for 4 tires.
Everyone?
I think anyone who stays on the racetrack will be passed almost immediately. When you look at the lap times, these cars start in the mid 49-second range. They slow all the way down to the 52-second range. We saw it just last week at New Hampshire, the 88 trying to make something happen, staying out on old tires. A Hail Mary is what Dale Jr. called it. And they split him 2, 3, 4 wide in the first corner. I think while Indianapolis is very narrow, it is very momentum and wide where it matters most, which is that back straightaway. I think, Jeff, on old tires, you go through 1 and 2, there's just nowhere to protect as you come off turn 2.
If you could get 6 to 8 other cars to stay out with you, and you were that lead guy, great. But no one's going to do that for you. And you being in, if you have old tires on and you're in 6th spot, and you put tires on at 117, they're going to gobble you up quickly.
Se você está sem pneus, mas tem 6 outros carros também sem pneus atrás de você, tudo bem. O problema é se você for o primeiro carro com pneus velhos.
Well, I had gotten under the 14 off of 4, and there was 2 lap cars in front of us, and the 14 just turned left. I was at his door almost, and wrecked me and him. Wrecked looks like the 41 got in it somehow. So you know, just unfortunate. I don't know. There's just been a lot of stuff like that happen to us this year, and you know, I think with the pit cycle, the way it was going to all work out, we were going to get a top 10 finish. So it's just unfortunate to see it play out like that. But the Sport Clips Camry was fast, got better all day. We had a top 5 car. It seemed like at the end of the race, just didn't get to see it all play out.
No, you did run up front for most of it. Your first time in a Cup car here at Indy. So what will be the kind of the takeaway or the lessons learned?
Man, it's been the story of our season. We've run well, run up front, just haven't been able to close these races out, whether it's our own fault or bad luck or circumstance. So you know, we can take a lot away from it. I can, at least. You know, the experience and the strategy here that plays out. Indy's a tough place, especially in a Cup car, and I learned a lot for coming back next year.
Thank you, Eric.
Eric Jones will be behind the wheel of the 20 in 2018, and Matt Kenseth just documented he was in a great position to potentially catch Trevor Bayne and maybe even win the Brickyard 400. All of that gets thrown out the window now because there will be plenty of different scenarios that are going to play out here as soon as the track goes back to yellow or caution and they're able to come to pit road. And who will make that decision to come to pit road?
We talked about all these scenarios. Remember last week, you know, Matt Kenseth sitting there leading the race. They decided to put 2 tires on, and just everybody else put 4 tires on, and it just did not work out. So how does that influence their decision today? Does that affect how they make this call today? That's, to me, it always lingers, Steve.
Aí, primeira vez que mostra como é que tá a limpeza da pista.
It's in the back of your mind. You're afraid to gamble again. But I think with where they are on tires, if I'm Matt Kenseth and his team and I do pit, I'm only doing 2, because they pitted at lap 132. So I think in this situation they could do 2 tires.
Well, and to be honest, I reached out to Jason Ratcliffe and kind of gave him a pat on the back. I've been in that position before. It's very easy to second guess. I thought he was very hard on himself.
Vou pular aí para a hora que eles vão para o pit. Ok. Não tem mais sol na pista. Isso pode mudar bastante o comportamento do carro. Todo mundo parando para trocar pneus. Ou não. Case Kane, primeira ficada na pista. Como esperado. Muito cimento seco. Olha só.
Johnson was really almost out of fuel, so this was a godsend for him to have the red flag. These 3 cars on pit road and off. Sunoco fuel in to make it to the end.
With 2 cars staying on the racetrack, this race off pit road is to be on the inside
lane
behind the front row.
2 is going to be able to get out in front of the 48.
2 carros ficaram na pista, a briga aí para ser quem vai ficar na linha de dentro da segunda fila, basicamente. Keselowski Bayne.
Well, but we still need to find out where Casey Kane falls into this, because Casey Kane stayed on the racetrack.
Olha lá o Bayne e Keselowski. Olha o pneu do Keselowski em traseiro esquerdo, pode ter danos.
Stayed out. There's your 2 leaders. When you come back around, that's first and that's second. So Keselowski coming off pit road, that's first. That's going to put him starting directly behind Casey Kane on the bottom lane. And we heard Jimmy Johnson say, you want the bottom lane, and he's going to have 4 fresh tires.
If you're the race leader, though, would you choose the outside line because you get to dictate the restart?
No.
You don't want to get outside and clear?
I am choosing the inside every time at Indianapolis. Now, we saw...
It didn't work out for Mark Truex.
I understand. It did not work out, but it's your job to...
Não deu certo o Truex. Tá falando aí que o certo é pegar sempre a linha de dentro. Vamos ver. A maioria das vezes a linha de dentro funciona, mas tem vezes aí que não deu certo.
Because when you are on the outside, you can suck that guy around. You can take grip out. That's a risky call, though.
Again, post-race coverage and the kissing of the bricks live from Indy. That will be on NBCSN following victory. That will be followed by victory lap.
The other issue that you have to assess, if you're Casey Kane, your team's telling you, okay, Ryan Newman, he pitted on lap 133. He does not have tires like you have. you should have way more grip than him. He should not be able to pull up next to you going into one. And even if he is, you should have enough grip to be able to drive a race. So in that situation with Ryan Newman with pitting on lap 133, you put it on lap 149, 100% take the bottom.
Well, Jeff, we talked about moments in the race. Casey Kane and Keith Rodden had no idea that when they called their car to pit road on lap 149, this would be the moment that changed their entire race. The five's on pit road, the wreck happens, the caution comes out. That move, that pit decision has given Casey Kane the lead with 8 laps to go. 102 races.
Casey Kane liderando 102 corridas desde que ele venceu. Vamos ver, hein? Será que ele leva hoje?
We talked about moments. They had no idea that was going to be a special one. Give them a chance to win the Brickyard 400.
It was August of 2014, Atlanta, the last time Casey Kane won a Monster Energy Cup Series race.
So think about what we have. We have Casey Kane on fresh tires starting on the front row. 31 of Ryan Newman, a Brickyard 400 winner, will start outside front row on a little bit older tires, but right behind them, Brad Keselowski, who hasn't loved his car today. Remember back at the red flag, lots of complaints, worked with Paul Wolf, Trevor Bayne, got track position with that very unique fuel strategy, but then what a strong third row.
Vamos para a relargada.
Champion on the inside and another champion on the outside with Matt Kenseth. There is a lot of heat behind these front 2 rows.
Muita atenção agora, que eu não sei se a gente vai ficar em bandeira verde por muito tempo, hein?
And all of a sudden you get on a winless drought. People say you can't do it. My heart rate's up for the position that Casey Kane is in. This is
Casey Kane tá louco para mostrar que ele ainda pode ganhar.
It will be a 7-lap shootout.
7 voltas.
Ryan Newman on the outside. Newman's won the Brickyard 400 before. Casey Kane has not. Coming into the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air.
Bandeira verde tá valendo de novo. Olha lá, Keselowski já tenta botar por dentro. Força Tri-Wide. Casey Kane não deixa. Recebe o toque. Consegue se manter na frente. Ryan Newman já cai para a 4ª posição, quase 5º agora. E agora começa a abrir por posições da reta oposta. Embaralhada aí. Por enquanto está indo em bandeira verde. Jimmy Johnson em terceiro. Tentando passar o Keselowski. E a batida! No meio da reta, Kyle Larson. E parece que vai ser só ele. Por sorte, hein? Aquela reta é estreita, podia ser muita mais gente. E vai jogar óleo na pista, pegando fogo. Parecido com o jeito que acabou o Martin Truex. Os dois que estão dominando a temporada, terminando a prova do mesmo jeito. Lateral do carro destruída e o carro pegando fogo.
Looks like he's limping just a little bit.
12th position was where Kyle Larson was running before he hit the wall. Now we'll have to look if somebody got into the back of him or if
parece que o Larson tentou bloquear, só que alguém já estava do lado dele. Não, ele foi bloqueado até o muro.
Kyle Larson couldn't go any lower. You put Kyle Larson in a position where he was going to lift a wreck and
Incrível quantas vezes ele bateu ali no muro externo. E o para-choque completamente arrancado fora. Devemos ter outra bandeira vermelha, hein?
Decent contact, not a huge impact. This one right here, though, actually might have been one of the bigger hits, and at that point you see all the red sparks. Finally it catches
bateu bem na parte que o muro tem uma abertura, pode lixar fora a parte do carro.
Jeff, do you think some of the speedy dry, as soon as we started to see the dust, it's like the 42 came around. I don't know if he lost traction or what that low in the front stretch.
Ah, não, foi um pouquinho antes da entrada.
It's like two cars running that hard and
E aí o fogo.
maybe just a little bit of contact between the two.
Parece que ali a lateral direita é um lugar frágil para fácil de pegar fogo no carro quando se danifica ali. Deve ter até o fluido do freio que vai naquela direção.
Trying to use that wall to his advantage almost as a pick.
As duas rodas direitas com a suspensão bem danificada. Ainda em amarela, nada de vermelha por enquanto.
This restart is going to be as difficult or more difficult for the 5 of Casey Kane. He'll now have Brad Keselowski to his outside. Jimmy Johnson right behind him on the inside line.
Ainda por cima foi bem no lugar que tinha bastante cimento seco, hein? Não sei se aquilo não influenciou. Com certeza influenciou alguma coisa para o Kyle Larson sair rodando.
This restart is going to be more difficult. Remember that the 31 of Ryan Newman, he had on older tires. So that was a huge advantage to Casey Kane. Certainly you could beat Ryan Newman through 1 and 2 with those old tires, but now it's going to be much difficult. Much more difficult.
That's Keith Rodden.
Not the caution you want to see. They had gotten out to about a 6 or 7.
Ah, sim, porque quem tá com o pneu um pouco mais velho vai ser mais difícil agora. Se bem que o pneu dele não tá tão mais velho assim.
And so they're trying to clean up the fluid that was put down on the track.
You know, Keith Rodden, who we just showed, think about, there's been so much conversation in the air throughout the garage, throughout the media, throughout the fan base about Casey Kane and his seat at Hendrick Motorsports. The question was who's going to drive the 88.
Eu vou pular aí para a próxima relargada.
Because I've seen no official statement from anyone about what Casey Kane's future is. I don't know his contract situation. But as all these rumors floated, not once have I heard in private or public Keith Rodden point or say anything about his driving.
The playoffs and move somebody out.
Kelly.
Aí como estão os pontos no momento.
He's been released all the way down into that inside wall. What happened?
I mean, I was Sue's inside all the way off 4, and he just kept running me down. And I mean, we're to the end. I'm not going to lift, and he just ran me down far enough where I had nowhere to go. And he actually, clipped his left rear, and then it got me loose probably down the speedy dry, and I just came back across the track. So a ton of blocking today. Pretty aggressive, dirty blocking. I got blocked a few times. I saw other people blocking pretty aggressively, so pretty annoying, but. Oh well, I don't know. I was there the whole time on that one, so that one was pretty bad, but it's just Indy.
Descontente, estava ali do lado o tempo todo, então esse aí foi bem ruim, esse bloqueio. 48 Johnson fumando um pouquinho e vamos para a relargada. 2 voltas para o final. Fumando bastante, aliás. Vamos ver. Só tem que aguentar por 2 voltas. Keselowski e Casey Kane lado a lado. Casey Kane quase roda. Quase leva o seu companheiro Jimmy Johnson. 3 carros lado a lado pela liderança. Jimmy Johnson fumando e vai assumindo a liderança. Ou não. Vai assumir ou não? 3, que é isso? E rodou Jimmy Johnson. Uau. Mais uma bandeira amarela. O pacote com menos pressão aerodinâmica tá interessante. Não foi dessa vez, Jimmy Johnson. E agora sim vamos pro overtime. Só agora.
Almost had the 5 completely cleared when they went down the backstretch, and then the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. We could see that there was a problem with the 48. The smoke was rolling out from underneath
Já tava com fumaça. Será que ele ajudou ele para rodar?
Well, what a series of events from the time the green flag dropped. Right here, Casey Kane underneath Keselowski. It's really, really loose, able to maintain it in good spot. Keselowski does everything he's supposed to do, gets close to the 5. Now look how loose the 5 gets right here, up into the side of the 2. Jimmy Johnson with huge momentum, with smoke coming out of the back of the car like it's blowing up. Now right now, Casey Kane in lift.
Deus, parece que vai estourar o motor em breve.
He's going to drive it in there. Every one of these guys wants to win a Brickyard 400. The 48 car very bottom.
Ah, acho que ele, quando tocou no concreto ali, perdeu a traseira. Pelo que parece. De qualquer forma, perdeu a traseira e rodou. Ao menos não levou mais ninguém com ele. Os dois ainda se tocaram. Pode ter pneu furado aí no Casey Kane ou Keselowski. Fumaça bloqueando toda a visão daquele ângulo. Trevor bem em terceiro. Mas parece que pegou a grama. Vamos ver ali o Trevor bem. Terceiro carro ali. Ah, pegou um pouquinho da grama, mas nada demais. Poderia estragar o splitter ou sujar o radiador de grama. Pode alguém ir atrás dele pegar essa grama no radiador, mas ele parece que está bem. Que bela corrida essa relargada aí. A disputa pela liderança, 3 carros lado a lado, na reta oposta. E Indianápolis não é todo dia que a gente vê. E Casey Kane ainda na frente. Talvez, quem sabe relargar por fora.
Kelly, that's really interesting cramping up because we know Casey Kane is an unbelievable athlete, does triathlons, unbelievable athlete, works out, trains all the time. But that conversation, Steve, about which lane to take became more complicated right there. That set of circumstances, those incidences. Look at the side of the 2 car, how beat up it is. That tells Casey Kane, if Keselowski gets on the outside of me, he can pull me around. So, difficult decision here for Casey Kane.
Let's listen into the 2 radio talking about that damage.
All right, you did what you had to do there. Nice job. We'll check my left side damage here. Check my left side. Little wrinkle there.
Perguntando se não tem dano na esquerda. Menino desesperado pro chefe de equipe olhar ali. O Keselowski pedindo pro chefe de equipe olhar se não tem dano no lado esquerdo.
I just don't think you can give Brad Keselowski the bottom. I think Brad did a remarkable job on the outside, but I think you have to take the bottom and force Brad to the top. But Casey Kane disagrees. He's going to start on the outside.
I have to tell you, with what I just saw, I don't know that Casey Kane had a choice. I think that Casey Kane goes into turn 3 wide, and is lucky enough to come out of it. That means that being on the bottom isn't going to work again. So try to be the guy on the outside that pulls the 2 car around. A difficult decision. I don't know if it's a right decision or a wrong decision.
Well, Rick, I'm giving my opinion, but remember, my career was on top of the pit box. I've never driven one of these cars into turn 1. I've had some very talented race car drivers give me their opinion, but it changes every race. So, Jeff, if you think after seeing what the 2 did, he has to be on the outside, but I think starting on the outside, he has got to accelerate out of the zone first.
That's what it's all about.
Esse cara já apaga as luzes, próxima vez vamos relargar de novo. De novo, mais uma tentativa de terminar esta prova.
That's on the backstretch between 2 and 3, and if they are able to get to the overtime line after this initial green that comes out, if they're able to get to the overtime line before a caution comes out,
tem aí completar meia volta e mais um pouquinho até aquela linha que eles mostraram. Daí esta vai ser a relargada final. Caso contrário, se tem uma amarela antes disso, relarga de novo. Do jeito que a gente já viu, tem muita chance de ter batida antes de chegar ali. jeito que a gente já viu até agora.
Michael McDowell and Ryan Newman. Mike McDowell only has one career top 5. He's running in the 5th position.
And what an incredible track it would be to get maybe your second top 5 or possibly a win.
Vamos para a relargada.
The outside line. Keselowski on the inside. It'll be 2 laps to go. Casey Kane determining the restart. Once he enters the restart zone.
Relargada e patina Casey Kane. Isso vai embolar todo mundo. E a batida. E a batida. Nossa, não devemos chegar em bandeira verde até a linha. Patinou o Casey Kane, ou foi o segundo carro por fora ali atrás do Casey Kane que tentou ajudar o Casey Kane empurrando e daí fez ele patinar. De qualquer forma, mais uma bandeira amarela. Capaz de ter bandeira vermelha agora para limpar a pista.
This wreck is because you're coming green-white checkered, and everybody knows if you push the guy in front of you, it's going to make that line go faster. And this is pushing gone wrong.
And we saw it out of the car just behind Casey Kane. He was pushing Casey Kane before they even started.
He pushed Casey so hard, he pushed him sideways and actually hurt his restart.
Ryan Blaney disappointed. He climbs out.
E o Casey Kane ainda está na frente ou agora é o Keselowski? Demorou até sair a amarela. Quem sabe o Keselowski passou com essa. Vamos ver. Ali a patinada do Keselowski também não foi tão bem. E quem bateu foi o carro atrás do Keselowski no final das contas que saiu rodando. E não sei se foi empurrando o Keselowski, eu acho que ele que foi empurrado pelo terceiro carro na linha de dentro. Vamos ver primeiro por fora ali, o Casey Kane. Ali pedindo para o Bane empurrar. A primeiro foi o Casey Kane. Ali agora começou a valer. E o carro atrás do Bane. Esse branco com o número verde limão ali que passou. Peraí. McDowell no 95. Empurrando o 6 do Trevor Bane. Esse aí que causou o maior problema. Olha ali, todo mundo um empurrando o outro.
And it's hard to reference, but it looks like Casey Kane chooses to wait to the end of the restart zone. Now he can absolutely do that. He can refire.
Casey Kane deixou para relargar mais para o final da zona de relargada. É a escolha dele.
Everyone's trying to anticipate, so they roll up on you, roll up on you. So here you'll see the zone, and it looks to me like the 5 chooses not to go. So as Brad starts to accelerate,
ele poderia relargar em qualquer lugar aí nessa faixa verde. É a escolha dele. E ele está deixando mais para o final.
When to go and when to make that push happen. All those timings don't happen right. We end up with this bunched up group.
That's what it is. Denny Hamlin accelerates like the 5's going to go right at the start of the zone. The 5 doesn't go. This is the view. You see how much movement there is left to right, and then finally the 6 of Trevor Bane just gets pushed out of line. So now basically the leader will be decided off from a loop line. The last
Daqui a pouco a corrida vai ter que ser interrompida por escuridão e dar a vitória para Casey Kane ou Keselowski.
So we'll have to get word from Nascar, but I agree. I think Brad Keselowski is the leader of the race.
Antigamente, quando era o Green White Checker, Keselowski líder. Antigamente, quando era o Green White Checker, sempre era primeiro uma chance de Green White Checker, depois até 3 tentativas de Green White Checker. Mas aí você tinha que completar pelo menos uma volta inteira em verde para daí a próxima bandeira acabar a prova. Ou 3 tentativas de fazer isso. Agora são tentativas ilimitadas, mas só até aquela linha que a gente viu ali
comes first? Does it go as soon as I get to the line? Do I wait and try to get them to check up? I mean, those are the games that are played within that zone, and he chooses to
Passando de lado ali. Aí por causa dessa jarda aí de tijolos, que essa aqui é chamada Brickyard, é o pavimento original da pista de 1909.
You cannot go with your rear tires picked up off the ground, and Denny Hamlin just did not time it very well.
O 3 acho que queria voltar para a pista.
I think he was complaining that they asked him to get out of the car. He went over and looked at the damage. I think his damage is not as much as anyone else, so he wants to be able to continue.
Quer voltar para a pista, quer continuar correndo.
Potentially, we'll see if he ends up going to
bandeira vermelha.
an ambulance to be taken back to the infield care center.
So Rick, you covered the overtime rules. So
vamos pular aí até a próxima relargada. Ó, resumo do que já aconteceu até agora. Isso vai ser interessante incluir. Denny Hamlin e o Ryan Newman ali, os dois, danificando o nariz do carro do Hamlin. 24 estourando o motor. Já teve outro carro que rodou e bateu antes, não mostraram. Amarela da volta 8. Dale Jr. estourando o radiador.
Wild ride for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. As he was on the inside of the 48, around he went.
Ricky Stenhouse rodando e batendo. Martin Truex e Kyle Busch, que dominaram a prova até então, caem fora no mesmo acidente.
After this accident, they set up a fuel mileage race for the 6th. He was out running, saving fuel, trying to outrun Matt Kenseth.
E daí, esse acidente. Com 10 voltas para o final.
Jeff, close your eyes. You hate this view.
I do too.
Seen it too many times. Still hurts.
42 of Kyle Larson on the
E
front
daí,
stretch.
Kyle Larson na relargada, depois de 2, 3 voltas. E depois na próxima relargada, tri-wide emocionante. Que corrida! É a corrida da década isso aqui. Não sei se é tanto, mas uma das melhores, com certeza. Não pelos acidentes, mas as relargadas tão lindas, as disputas. Acidente também faz parte. É bom acelerar aí a limpeza da pista.
We have talked to the 5 team and they said it's all right if we want to chat with Casey Kane, so let's dial him up on the radio.
Entrevista com o Casey Kane, vamos pegar aí.
Casey, it's Burton, NBC booth. You got a moment?
Yeah.
Man, it's been so fun to watch you guys racing this hard. I know that last restart didn't quite work out the way you wanted to. How does that change your strategy for this restart?
Well, I just got to be, ready to go and go off him. Or do it his way. Last time I hadn't went yet, and he was already going, so then, the 11 started pushing me. I still hadn't went. Like I have, I have from the 2 cones to the 1 cone to decide when I want to go, and Brad just started and looked out his right window and controlled it. And crazy that they let him do that when they make these rules, but yeah, I just got to try to do the best job I can, stick with him here, and pass him through 1 or 2. I mean, those are my options.
So Casey, what are you, as the second place car, what are you looking at? What makes the decision for you when you can go? Are you following it? Are you just paying attention to the leader? Or are you picking a mark, trying to gamble and go a little bit early?
Well, you just going off the leader, going off when he cracks the throttle. You could try to gamble, and that seemed to work the last time. So yeah, I mean you just had a couple options right there, but the leader's supposed to be in control, and not what was going on the last restart.
Well, Bud, it's been really exciting to watch you race. I know you're doing all you can to get this win, but we'll be watching you. Good luck.
You heard Casey Kane very adamant. He doesn't feel that he had the opportunity to start the race in the zone. He felt that the two jumped the restart. So you see
Achou
right
que o
here,
2 Keselowski pulou a relargada.
as they get into the restart zone. Both running
Queimou a
about 60 miles
relargada.
an hour. Brad Keselowski definitely accelerates a few miles an hour first. I think Kane sees that and tries to not go, making it even more obvious that Brad Keselowski jumps. The 11 hits the 5, spins the rear tires. I mean, Casey does have an argument that he doesn't feel he got to restart the race, but it's purely a judgment call. We've heard nothing out of NASCAR, so they're saying that that restart was fine. The 2's now the leader, but you could hear the frustration. He felt like he had the right to wait to that second line.
Well, and look, and with the advantage of the timing, you know, with the speeds, you can see that he does go early, but NASCAR doesn't use that to officiate the restart. So if you look at the restarts without that, you know, consideration, it clearly looks like to me that Casey Kane is is disadvantaged by the 20 getting into the back of him. So listen, that's a tough call. That is a tough judgment call NASCAR has to make. If you're a Casey Kane
Será
fan,
que vão penalizar o Keselowski por queimar a largada?
you think there was nothing wrong, it's a ball and strike call, and that's how they call it.
The drivers know that.
Right.
That's why Brad did what he did, because he knows it's a hard judgment call. He's trying to gain an advantage.
There is no instant replay.
Right.
This is not a. That's the thing
É,
about
essa
a
parte
restart. Why it's so difficult for NASCAR to police, and they don't want to
de
police it. But
regular se o outro segundo colocado queima ou não queima a largada é difícil de fiscalizar, ao menos no momento. Então por isso também os pilotos podem abusar desta regra. E olha como está ficando escuro.
I don't know that I would have called it any differently, and it's just a tough call.
Double foul restarts. I know is what you.
I'm sorry. What did I say?
You said single foul, but it's double
Dude,
foul.
It's been a long day. It's getting close to my bedtime.
É o que? Vamos pular aí para a relargada. Quase nem precisou pular, já estão andando de novo, então vamos deixar aí.
Huge record here from Donahue in 72 to Montoya a couple of years ago, but never in the Brickyard 400 for Roger Penske. Brad Keselowski's in position to do it today if he can hang on.
Roger Penske nunca venceu
And the two was just talking
o
about
Indianapolis pela NASCAR.
Listen in.
My only concern, Paul, with the top lane is Casey getting it loose inside of us and wrecking us like Truex did Kyle, but hopefully we're far enough ahead where it won't matter if we take that outside lane. Yeah, temp work, so it's all on the bottom there, you're saying? Yeah, the outside lane on the restart and all the way in through, if you're too wide, the outside lane is clear, but the minute you jump to the bottom lane where you would run, it takes the path all the way around the corner.
So what they're talking about is this oil drive that's on the racetrack, and you could see that Casey Kane believed that he was going to be given the bottom. So Casey Kane was working the bottom of the racetrack trying to get that speedy dry rubbed off the racetrack, and Brad Keselowski, he was outside of it. He doesn't want it cleaned up.
Now they're both down there at the bottom of the track. The sparks coming out of the left front of the car, that's the 95 of Michael McDowell. He has quite a bit of damage to the right side of that car, and potentially a left front tire is down. You see the continued sparks coming out, and so once again, Casey Kane definitely in a position where he could win this race. Let's hear from the team owner, standing by with Kelly.
And that's Rick Hendrick, Mr. H as he's known, and it's been a tough day for Hendrick Motorsports, but what would it mean for this five car to get a win?
It'd be awesome anytime you can win here. I thought he was in really good shape till that caution came out, so hopefully we can pull it off.
What do you want to see out of Casey here on this restart?
Just whatever it takes. He's just going to have to be very aggressive, and I hope there's a good help behind him.
You've done it so many times, been here for wins, as recently yesterday with William Byron winning in the Xfinity Series. What is so special about Indy?
Well, I never thought I'd win a race here, and I think we've won nine Cup races here, and then William did a heck of a job yesterday. So this place is so special. I'd love to see Casey and these guys pull it off.
Thank you so much.
So there's Rick Hendrick.
Já venceu 9 vezes. Achou que nunca ia vencer em Indianápolis.
And what did he say was going to take the win? You're going to have to be very aggressive. And you're going to have help from behind. And by the way, that's what just caused that wreck.
Exactly.
But that's what you're going to have to do. And look, as we enter turn one, the conversation was about the speedy dry and where was that speedy dry. Brad Keselowski chose the outside, thinking this speedy dry would be an issue. Typically, this looks worse than it is. Typically, it'll stain the racetrack, but you can see coming out from behind the cars, I don't see any dust.
Right.
I don't see any dust, so I don't think that's a factor.
Well, Kasey Kahne is hoping it's not a factor because he will restart in that lower line on the bottom of the track, and it'll be Brad Keselowski that'll be on the outside. And once again, Brad Keselowski now as the race leader, he has the opportunity to restart this race. He is the leader, the control car when they come into the restart zone.
And so remember, we saw Brad Keselowski with his hand out the window, asking for Trevor Bayne to push, hand out the window, telling Trevor when to go. Okay, we didn't see that from Kasey Kahne. We did not see Kasey Kahne giving an indication, okay, now's the time to go. This is the time he's going to need to do that. I think it could potentially help.
Vamos lá, mais uma vez.
Ryan Newman is in the outside lane because remember, Ryan Newman has old tires. He pitted on lap 133, Kasey Kahne on 149. So that could actually help Kasey Kahne in this situation.
Light is still a factor. We have the magic of television where we can open the iris up and let as much light in. It looks brighter than it actually is here because of the magic of these cameras able to give us a little bit more light.
Tá bem mais escuro do que parece na câmera. Atenção, hein? Vamos ver se vai ter outra relargada. Os pilotos também devem saber disso. Devem ser mais agressivos que o normal. Vamos para a relargada. Mais uma vez, vamos lá. Por enquanto, todo mundo inteiro. Ninguém empurrando ninguém. Kasey Kahne por dentro. Muito cimento. Consegue limpar. Denny Hamlin fumando dessa vez. Fumando bastante. E rodou. Eles já passaram a linha ou não? Passaram agora. E agora sim sai a amarela. Acho que a Nascar esperou eles passarem para dar amarela de propósito. Dessa vez faz completamente compreensível depois de tudo que já aconteceu. Que carnificina. Kasey Kahne vai vencer em Indianápolis depois de 108 corridas. Vai vencer uma prova, mas vai comemorar muito. E conseguiu ultrapassar na pista o Keselowski. Quatorze amarelas.
It will be Kasey Kahne's first Brickyard 400 win.
Vamos ver aí, ali a lanterna. Passou. E agora saiu amarela. Não é mistério nenhum. Seria muito estranho se tivesse acontecido.
He said, and guess what? Another winner in 2017.
Mais um vencedor. Mais um vencedor desse ano que com isso vai para os playoffs.
So many question marks around what's going to happen in his career. Needing a win to get into the playoffs, and he gets it at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This moment presented by Sunoco, fueling victories all season long. taking the checkered flag. And there's the celebration.
You have to feel good for this team and Casey Kane. With all they've been through, I mean, Casey Kane has won 17 cup wins, 17 cup wins.
18 now.
18 now. And you have to feel good about this win.
A big, big win for Casey Kane. He wins the Brickyard 400. We'll hear from him next. The crew has made its way out to the Yard of Bricks. And Casey Kane has made his way there as well. The burnout starts for the Brickyard 400 winner.
Foi orando muito Casey Kane.
Now Rick Hendrick has 10.
Matando a saudade. Pode ser a última. Tem que aproveitar mesmo.
And one with Casey Kane. Nearly 6 hours is how long it took for Casey Kane to get to
Quase
this point
6
where he could
horas.
celebrate with the crowd.
6 hours, Rick, and 102 races. Not just winning the Brickyard 400, but breaking that long career winless drought and doing it against Brad Keselowski. Final restart. Entered that restart in second. As you mentioned, Jeff, got a great launch. Took the lead into turn 1.
Every time you have to have maybe a little bit of luck on your side. And it was Keith Rodden calling him down to pit road. And he was on pit road to get the pit stop work done just as a wreck was happening behind him coming off of turn 4. So a little bit of luck there, but it was all skill on that restart when he was able to get by Brad Keselowski.
It felt like the restart before that wasn't fair. You heard him say it. He felt like Brad went before he did. He executed perfectly.
So the celebration has begun, and coming up next, it's going to be Sunday Night with Megan Kelly. That's right here on NBC. On NBCSN, make sure to tune in because you'll hear the Victory Lane celebration, the interview with Casey Kane, and 90 minutes of coverage. Again, that's on NBCSN. Congratulations to Casey Kane.
Parabéns, Casey Kane, vencedor da Brickyard 400 de 2017. Que prova longa, que prova maluca.
An elated Casey Kane. He's climbed back into the car. Rick Hendrick is right there congratulating him. Now he's going to make his way to Victory Lane. The most historic racetrack in the world. Indianapolis Motor Speedway. For 24 years, the Monster Energy Cup Series has raced at this iconic racetrack. And Casey Kane, so many questions about.
Então tá, isso aí, até a próxima, valeu!